I sold it to the client at 220,000 Maltese, about 500,000 euros. Today, it just sold for 3.2 million. Anybody who tells you that they knew that the property was going to skyrocket like this
is full of shit.
All Portugal will be good. My question now is, where do we draw a line? Is it too late? 1999, I rented to the first gaming company.
Did you think that it was, did you feel like it was the start of an era?
I had no idea what the hell it was.
You got me talking like you, man, saying things like the man.
As we go along, our quality of life is deteriorating. In government authorities, we just have a lot of people that don't really know what the hell they're doing.
Nirdafaw najdu kemm għal-buzz Minn waħda neħilbu tnejn Nifmux dwar x'qed irednu Nistaqsu kif u x'fatta u fejn Il-Malta Staġġar! Fuq il-Malta Staġġar!
Mela, tlaqna? Merħba għal-episodju tal-podcast. Illum fl-studio għanna lil Kevin Buttigieg, ma' Kevin Buttigieg li huwa il-propjetarju ta' Remax, fil-fatt daħħal il-franchise ta' Remax ġewwa Malta. Ħanitħattu dwar is-suq ta' real estate fil-pajjiż, l-impatt tal-kostruzzjoni fuq il-komunità, fuq l-ambjent u ħwejjeġ ta' dik ix-xorta, tkellmu dwar il-prezzijiet fil-proprjetà, il-preżent u l-ġejjieni ta' das-suq x'inhu, kif ukoll kif das-suq se jimpatta l-ġejjieni ġenerali tal-pajjiż. Qabel ma nibda, għawat ta' kumpaniji li joġobhom ikunu ta' sosten għal dan il-podcast u għal daqstant ir-rakkomandazzjoni tiegħi dejjem li tagħmlu użu mis-servizzi u mill-prodotti ta' dawn in-nies li jiżguraw li dan il-podcast, dan il-proġett jibqa' jkun ħalliem u jwettaq dak li jista' u fej jista' u jkompli f'din il-midja. Dawn l-azzjendi huma il-Hungry Hippie, il-Vini Kapriċċi ta' Abram, nirringrazzja lil Browns, il-Maple, l-Apex Media tal-SC, grazzi lil GSC Technologies, ESS Electra, kif ukoll il-Kutriko, il-Garmin, il-Derek Meats u l-Cabs li l-hom magħna mill-bidu sa mill-ewwel episodju sal-lum li qegħdin xi 120 xi ħaġa episodju, dejjem jiġu għalija u għall-mistiedna u għall-ħut mit-tim u s-servizz huwa għalfejn kont qed naħares lem il-kamera. Dejjem is-servizz huwa impeccabbli u li kebs qegħdin jikbru u minn hawnhekk vera niferħilhom għax perswas la jkollhom ġejjieni tal-ġen mhux biss lokalment huma fi bnadi internazzjonali. Insomma, ara tlaqna jien u Kevin Buttigieg. Patreon.com/ġomma li jekk tixtiequ tkunu parti minn il-komunità. All right, man. So let's just give people a bit of context because generalment il-podcast bil-Malti jisir, but you spent most of your young life, your youth in Detroit, correct?
Yes, about 24 years, from when I was 2 years old.
Okay, and what were you doing in Detroit?
No, I went there with my parents, obviously. I didn't just pack my bags and leave at 2 years old, but no.
You seem to me adventurous enough to be that kind of kid.
I mean, I went to school there, obviously. My parents decided to come back to Malta when I was 17.
Good.
I stayed there. I had my grandparents who still lived there. Got myself in, always getting in a bit of trouble here and there. I wasn't the best student in the world.
Okay.
So
what kind of trouble were you getting into?
All kinds of trouble. I can't say it on this podcast. No. So, I mean, stuff that kids do, I mean, which isn't, let's say, so exceptional, so accepted. But obviously you grow up after a while and I got into selling cars with, and I was selling cars over there, dealing with limousine services. I was young. I had quit school. I had no intention on going to university or anything like that. School just wasn't for me. But believe me, I believe that people should go to school, and I believe that maybe that was a mistake that I did. My problem is that I have attention deficit disorder, so I can't concentrate for very long. I've had it all my life. I was diagnosed with it as a kid. So, okay. But, you figure our way around it and you move on. I did a lot of socializing. I was very big in sports. I was a wrestler. I used to wrestle Greco-Roman wrestling in the States. Made it to the state finals. So I did quite well there. Always was a social guy. Always worked hard. Started working when I was 12 years old, delivering papers. You know, like you see on the movies where they're throwing the papers.
The paper boy.
That was me. You know.
That's great, man.
And then I worked for garden stores. I bussed tables. I did everything.
And was that out of necessity, or was it because you wanted?
No, I mean I had
to have your own.
I had a good
income.
home, but my dad was very strict. So if I wanted those expensive shoes, my dad wasn't going to pay for them for me.
Right.
So
what did your parents do?
My dad was a banker.
Okay.
My mother a housewife. He had his limits, so like, you know, other kids in my class, their parents would buy them everything. Me, he'd tell me, I'll pay that much, you pay the rest. So I had to work. I had to learn.
It probably had a good effect on you, know?
Yeah. I think it's the way to be.
Like it made you more, well, it made you value money more probably.
Definitely. I mean, when people make money themselves, they always value it more. I mean, that's tried and tested. I've met so many people in my life. I've met characters that made the money themselves, and that's one category. I've met people who inherited the money, and let's not put them all in the same basket, but 90% of them are what they are. 10% of them actually even increase their inheritance, but
have that sort of that sort of drive.
Yeah.
How obviously you have kids now.
2, best thing that ever happened to me.
So how are you going to deal with that? Are you going to have the same kind of mindset in the way you're going to parent your kids?
Yes, I mean, I'll be honest, I've slipped a bit and I've probably spoiled them a bit these last few years, but now I'm starting to clamp down on them and teach them what it means. You know, I mean, at first, you know, my first wife, we did IVF for 10 years and we didn't have kids. So I honestly never thought I would have kids. And,
okay.
And, you know, I had all my guys growing up with me in the Remax offices, and all of them were getting married. All of them were having kids, you know. I felt super for them, but deep down, you know, I was asking him upstairs saying, why not me? Why? I did IVF, I think, 26 times, you know. It was a horrible ride for 10 years.
So you really wanted kids?
Yeah. I always wanted kids. And then I met Natalia, who I'll be marrying in a...
Why did you want kids?
I just wanted kids because I love kids, number one. I've always been great with kids, and I wanted to have something. I don't know whether it's nice to say something of mine, but, you know, something. I'm happy. I've got 2 boys, a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, and they're the best thing that ever happened to me. I had them late, but at first I was a bit worried, and I'm trying. I'm a bit... You know, I've got to lose some weight. I got to take care of my health so I can live as long as I can with them. But at the first, I was a bit, maybe I had them too late. But now I'm saying to myself, no, you know what? Now I can spend time with them. And I took some time off work when Junior was born, and I resigned as CEO of Remax. My brother took over, and now we've put someone else, Sam's on meat there. But I took a break, and I took a break from real estate and pretty much all together. I just worked a bit here and there. But now I'm back full swing. Kids are great. They're going to school now, both of them. Yesterday was Luca's first day of school.
How are they doing? How are they finding that?
Junior, I think, is a little troublemaker like me. He's at San Antonio. And you know how I figured that out? The 3 shows that we went to, the teacher's always holding his hand. So that only tells you one thing, right? That he's the one you got to look after. Luca went yesterday, the first time. I think I'll be getting some calls over the next few weeks.
So you have two
troublemakers.
2 troublemakers, yeah.
Luca wants to pick a fight with everybody.
Do you like the fact that they're troublemakers?
Yes, I think it's the best. I mean, obviously, I never want them to hurt anybody or do anything wrong, but
or get into like excessive trouble. But
excessive trouble. But I think if they're too quiet, then you'll have trouble later.
Yeah,
I don't know if that makes sense, but that's what I believe.
Yeah, I think when you're excessively quiet, you tend to kind of drive that aggression inwards, and people maybe become resentful because they don't tell the world what they want to tell the world. And
yes.
It can be very, very time.
And they hold everything inside, and you never know where you stand with them.
Yeah. So let's get back to kind of your biography. So you're 23 24 when you came to Malta? When you came
24, but to keep in mind, I'd been coming frequently quite often, so I knew a lot of people. I'd come for 2-3 months at a time when my parents were living here, and then even when we were living in America, we used to come and visit quite often to Malta as well.
U l-ġenituri ġew biex jirtiraw?
Yeah, my father went there. The truth is, back in those days when I was born, and then we had another brother who died. He had spina bifida. The doctors told my mother that she could never have kids again. My grandfather in the States said, no, come over and get a second opinion. The second opinion, I don't need to what to say. I have a brother and I have a sister. So they were definitely wrong. And that's why they moved to the States. You know, my dad found work. They spent every penny they had trying to save my other brother. They spent lots of time in London. Unfortunately, he passed at a young age. I don't remember him. I wish I did, but I don't. And then my brother was born, and then later on my sister. So that's...
your brother is mischievous as you?
But we're different.
All right, let's not get him into trouble if he's not here to defend himself. So let's go back to kind of your trajectory, because you went from selling cars in Detroit, and then you came to Malta. And did you immediately get into real estate?
No, I came to Malta, and I wasn't planning on staying. I just came for 3 months, maybe 6 months, and I was thinking, you know, I was a kid, you know. I got a job. I don't know if you remember it, or any of you are old enough. There was a tourist submarine in Cirkewwa.
In Cirkewwa? I remember the one in Sliema, the
No,
Captain
that's
Morgan one.
underwater safari. This was a real submarine built by the Finnish. Finnish people.
I remember.
And it was based in Cirkewwa. It was a partnership between a Finnish company and the Captain Morgan.
Okay.
And I met Michael Zammitabona, the owner of Captain Morgan. And he told me, you want to, you know, sort of have a job taking care of the submarine, and I took it on. I was actually at the age of 23, 24, like we are. I was the manager. I caused a bit of friction between the Captain Morgan people because I was actually employed by the Finnish company.
Right.
And I was managing it. I went around all the hotels. I put posters up, and I was filling this submarine all the time. Was a great experience. We wouldn't be able to do it today, but the best experience we had there where we had handicapped people that could never go diving because they're handicapped. We used to lower them in a winch into the submarine.
Okay.
I mean, in hindsight, you think about it, if God forbid anything ever happened down
Health and
there.
safety out
the window. But you know what? They got to see what they wanted to see, and that was more important than anything.
And that's
else.
how you live, I guess, you
know, so back then I used to, even the captains of the boat, the Finnish and the Maltese captains of the boat, they were very keen to do it. We used to do a lot of those. It was going well. Unfortunately, back in those days, they had a law in Malta where if a Maltese can do a job, a foreigner cannot do it.
Oh, wow.
There was it was official law. So if I wanted you to make this plastic, if Maltese could do it and they wanted to do it, they take the job. You can't. A foreigner cannot take it. So the Finnish pilots taught the Maltese pilots how to drive the submarine.
Right.
They officially gave them their license to drive a submarine.
Okay.
The minute they got the license, the Maltese pilots, unfortunately, became very greedy, and they decided to ask for triple the wage that they were getting. Unfortunately, it made it not feasible, the submarine, and they went on strike. For me, it was perfectly fine because I was on a definite contract. I was getting paid anyway. I was losing the commission because I was probably doubling my wage with commission, selling cruises and stuff like that from the submarine shop. But they went on strike, and I had nothing to do. But I had a best friend who was a real estate agent. So I used to go sit in his office, and one day his brother doubled up on an appointment. And I said, no problem. Give me the key. Tell me where it is.
And I go show
it. I went and showed this apartment. It was just a simple apartment for rent. I still remember it to this day. It's 50 meters away from my head office, so it's close. 110 Maltese pounds a month. Back then, for a beautiful 2-bedroom with a study apartment. So those were the prices in Msida. And I rented it. And the next morning, he came and he gave me
Commission.
45 Maltese pounds. I said, what's this for? He said, that's your commission. I said, huh? Just for showing that apartment? It took me 10. And I said, okay, I start tomorrow until the submarine gets back up and running.
So,
and I thought I'd do it in the meantime, make some extra hours. Oh, I never could stay at home not doing nothing, you know. And it started going so well that I was never going back to the submarine.
Yeah.
I became a partner with
did the
them.
submarine ever?
No, unfortunately, it never did. Up to about 3 years ago, it was still in Bazina, or 4 years ago, it was still in Bazina shipyard. It's a shame. It's a real shame because it was a very attractive trip. It was a nice trip. I never really had anybody that didn't enjoy that trip. Few people got sick, but I mean, that's life, you
It's
know.
part of the show.
You know?
All right, I'm just going to pause the conversation a second. Ta' min qed isabbat? Murajdlu. Kylie, oħroġ du frejk waħda jekk jogħġbok. Żur Vinja Capricci by Abram ġewwa Għawdex għall-ifjen ġobnijiet laħmijiet imbejjed kif ukoll wieħed mill-whiskies favoriti tiegħi il-Jericho tal-Lost Distillery. Idħol www.vinjacapricci.com. Ġifieri dak kien inniżlek taħt l-ilma u tara tipo bil-ħġieġ u hekk.
You basically had a bench in the middle of the submarine. You had 24 seats, 12 sitting this way, 12 sitting this way. One of the best experiences I had, which was really cool, is I was one of the guys there that sunk the Rosie. You know the Rosie, the diving?
Yeah.
I sunk that ship. Why? Captain Morgan and the captains and the skippers. And we sunk it, we blew it up in the middle and it went down to earth. It became like a sea reef. Unfortunately,
Biex isir dive site u
dive site. They started putting fish food down there, so lots of fish would come around. Unfortunately, they used to fight with the Gazatin fishermen because they would come with nets and take all the fish. They couldn't leave it alone. But I think because the submarine would have 2 people downstairs and 1 person upstairs on a dinghy.
Okay.
With communication to the submarine.
All right.
So the guy on the dinghy actually, with the fisherman, actually shot at him a few times.
Jesus fucking Christ, man.
Because they, at first, I mean, the thing is, they took it with a lot of pride that they had this. I mean, it was a cool trip. I mean, submarine isn't, you don't find them anywhere. But then.
Is it that one over there?
Yep, that's it.
That's
it. Those were the windows.
Tal-osteġri, u batuma kienu jinizlu ħdejdi, Rosie u tara
Rosie, you go around. We had a grouper that stayed with us for about 18 months of the journey, as long as the submarine lasted. But we had a grouper, which we saw grow from this to this.
It used to follow the
It just
submarine.
used to stay there and follow the submarine, even go up to the window.
No, Mark's brother Luke always says that groupers are the dogs of the sea.
Yes.
Fakarni groupers tiġi bil-Malti. Uweja. Ċerna?
Ċerna. I think it is a ċerna.
Mela, nasib kella suċċess, prosit, keep it up. X'għallek? Il-kaskun, perswadejtu kaskun. Ħallastu. Mela, tlaqna l-ura l-konverzazzjoni. Allora, so you start doing
real estate,
but you're doing
rentals.
Rentals.
I only did rentals. We were the first company in Malta, the first company I worked for, which we were a full rental team. So most of the offices back then, rental wasn't a big thing. So Frank Salt had 1 rental person, Sarah Grech had 1 rental person, Dahlia had 1 rental person, and we had 5 or 6 on and off, and we started growing the business, and as we grew, the business grew. I mean, then obviously I remember in 1999, I rented to the first gaming company.
Right.
It was called lovebet.com.
Did you think that did you feel like it was the start of an era?
I had no idea what the hell it was.
At that point. When you started, at which point did you realize, oh fuck, there's much more money than I thought there is here. What was the watershed moment?
The watershed moment for me was when Tigne Point was launched.
Okay, when was that? What year?
Tigne Point would have been launched for pre-construction around 2001, 2002.
Okay.
They had chose, because we only did letting, they had chose 6 agents who were exclusive for the project. I knew most of the shareholders and stuff because I used to rent their properties. And
so they were agents that were...
I wasn't chosen.
Okay.
But I was a letting agent.
Right.
And they had it was the first time I think it ever happened in Malta, because usually the developers, you know how it is, they give to everybody, which is a big mistake. But anyway. And
why is it a big mistake?
Because you get a lot of clashes. It's a small island, so you're going to get a lot of people with the same client. And not everybody has the right information or knows how to portray the information or is professional enough to do it. So when you've got too many people in the broth, it's always causes a stink, right?
Yeah. Is it a bit disorganized?
It's very disorganized. It's very disorganized, unfortunately. It should get better with the licensing. We'll get onto that later. But anyway, Tigne Point. So I had some Irish clients who I happened to meet, and I was very involved in rugby. I used to play rugby here in Malta. So I had a lot of different clients from the rugby sphere, even around the world. And when they were going to launch, I went to the main manager there, and I told him, listen, I said, I have clients for this. He says, but Kev, we made a decision. I'm not going back to the board and saying we need to add another one. I said, but listen, let me do this deal with you. If I sell 10 units for you, you pay me the commission. If I sell 9, don't pay me nothing. And I ended up selling 26 in the first round.
God damn.
So
that's in what the first round is. How many months?
The first phase, I sold 26 units.
Okay. Where was that like the best accomplished agent?
As an agent, by far. But as a company, no.
Why? Why did you sell 26 units?
Because I had the context, I had the people. I realized what was going on. I realized there was such a big hype. Through rentals, because they have rental properties, you get to know wealthy people. And I just started phoning everybody. I didn't stay off the phone, and I worked from 7 o'clock in the morning until 11 o'clock at night.
Right.
Well, I mean, I still probably would do a bit of that now, but back in those days,
that's all you did.
If I knew that it was like, you know, Gladiator, when the films were here and stuff like that, me and my colleagues, we worked from 7 in the morning till 5 in the morning, just went home, took a cold shower, went right to work for 10, 15 days in a row. Because that was the work. You know, you work, you show them flats, you go do the contracts in the morning, you party with them all night. While you're partying, you're picking up new clients that want flats. I mean, Gladiator at that time in U571.
Yeah.
I mean, that was over 800 apartments that were rented in Cirkewwa, St. Julian's area. Because don't forget, back in those days, there wasn't much rental in the south. There wasn't much rental in the center. Now there's a lot of rental everywhere.
Is it because you're like so sociable? Did that like...
I think it helped. It definitely helped. No, it definitely helped. But, you know, I mean, there are people who are in the business that are sociable as well. But no, it's about just, you know, knowing how to choose the right people, get in with the right, and give a good service. And it's all about giving the good service, going out of your way, helping them.
So that was the point when you realized that, oh my God, this could be like real money.
Tigne Point, the actual film industry, Gladiator and U571, which
was that around the same time?
1999.
Okay,
so I was already focused that this is my job for life. I'm not going to change it. This is what I know how to do.
All right.
And this is what I'm going to be good at.
Right.
You know?
And to give people an idea, like when you say you sold 26 flats at Tigne Point.
Yes.
How much real estate is that in terms of value?
Look, back in those days, the apartment, one of them I can tell you, which just sold now, I sold it to the client at 220,000 Maltese, which is roughly about 500,000 euros.
Okay.
Today, it just sold last week for 3.2 million. Today. So yeah, it was big money. I mean, to be honest,
Did you realize that it's going to be such a, like, that the Maltese property market, the value of the property was going to rise so much over time? I mean, it was always kind of like on the up, but all of a sudden just...
Anybody who tells you that they knew that the property was going to skyrocket like this
is full of shit.
Is full of shit.
Okay.
I mean, I knew it would go up. I knew we have the island fever.
Okay.
And usually an island, the prices usually stay stabilized. They don't go down. I mean, but no one ever could have imagined that this would happen. I mean, this last 10 years have been phenomenal. I mean, just...
Depends who you speak to. So some people will tell you they've been phenomenal. Some people will tell you there's been, you know, issues with the infrastructure, with cleanliness, with overpopulation, and so on and so forth. So it's like, it's, you know, there was a price to pay.
There is a price to pay, and I would be one that would be against the garbage, against the problem with the infrastructure. And my question now is, where do we draw a line?
Yeah. Yeah.
But is it too late?
I don't know. What do you think?
I think it's, in certain areas, it is too late.
Right.
Yeah.
Shit. So important question then, I guess. If you were just starting out now in the property ladder, you haven't managed to get one foot up there, and this is a conversation that I have very, very often with younger people. Would you invest in would you do like your utmost to get on the property ladder here, or would you be like, fuck this, I'm going to Tenerife?
That's a tough one, because you have to be an adventurous person to go out of your own country.
But that's why I'm asking you, I guess.
I didn't really go out of my own country. I followed my parents to the States. And
no, but you're adventurous, so obviously.
No, but look, I hate to say it. And I know it's tough as hell right now for young kids to get on the property ladder. But at the end of the day, my question to those young kids is, are you willing to work 16, 17, 18 hours a day to get on the property ladder? Because me, Kevin Buttigieg, I work 16, 17, 18 hours a day to get where I am today. And I did that for a good 10, 15 years. But
to be fair, Kev, you're not the average, let's say, you don't own the average property. I mean, we can get into like your property portfolio, but that, like, maybe that's private or whatever. But all I'm saying is, if you're, the average kid, just finished university and you're trying to just get an apartment for your family, when you see the correlation between, how much people are making versus how much it costed to just get that fucking one apartment,
it's completely wrong. But I mean,
what pushes the price up? What pushed the price up so high?
Supply and demand. That's one. Obviously.
Can we discuss that a bit more? When you say supply and demand, what is causing such a great demand? You got me talking like you when I'm saying things like demand.
Supply and demand comes from, the population growing. Okay. Most of the population, the foreign population, do not buy. We know that, but there's a good percentage that do. And the Maltese. It's in our blood that we love stone, right? Yeah. I would say 90% of Maltese, I could be wrong, but I would think 90% of Maltese would actually prefer to invest in stone than any stocks, shares, or any of that stuff, or Bitcoin and bullshit like that. But
no, I tend to agree. Like that has always kind of been the car mile more.
So then Maltese started investing in lots of apartments. So if a block goes up in Msida, it on plan has stopped selling. It's slowed down a lot. Okay. But if you have a block in Msida, you still sell like cheesecakes. Okay. Because they're the best rental apartments. You're getting $1,500, $1,800. But even Msida, the prices have skyrocketed. A 3-bedroom apartment in Msida cost you up to $380,000.
Yeah, it's because the rental price is kind of bound to the sale price.
The rental price has bound to the sale price, and Maltese actually used to calculate backwards and say, I want to earn 5%, so times 20, and that's what the price should be.
Right.
Right? But now, obviously, we've got this issue that the tide is changing. The interest rates are going up.
Right.
Soon we'll be in a position where the interest rate will be high enough where people might say, okay, I don't want to invest in a rental property. Why would I? I can put my money in the bank,
right,
and earn 4.5% without any headaches.
Okay. Can you unpack that a bit for us, a bit more? Because you talk about return on investment.
Yeah.
Obviously, some listeners would be familiar with that. Some people, not saying me or anything like that, we don't know it. They don't know anything about it. So maybe you want to kind of explain how that works.
Return on investment is calculating what you're going to rent it for, what you bought it for,
right.
And let's say your target was 5%.
Yeah.
So you're going to earn that 5%, which is a great return.
Mm-hmm.
But you're also going to gain the capital appreciation of the property. Mm-hmm. So if you bought a property 10 years ago,
yeah,
Jesus, you did very well because you rented it for a good price. The capital appreciation was an average of 10, 15% per year.
Yeah.
And today, if you kept that apartment, you're sitting on probably triple your money in 10 years, which is super.
Yeah.
Today, I don't think the prices will go down. I don't think they can go down.
Why can't they go down?
So the price of finishing is too expensive. It's 30% plus more expensive to build today than it ever has been. And I believe that when they bring in, which they should, the licensing of every trade,
okay,
and we have to pay license, and they have to pay indemnity insurance to make sure their work's good, because that's the way it should be done.
Yeah.
Once that's in, the prices will even go up higher because the
costs more.
The cost will go more. It's the cost of professionalism. But the truth is, the prices we're paying for building and finishing is the same price, if not more, than other countries. So
right.
So they don't really have an excuse to put the price up again, but they will.
Okay.
All right.
Very interesting. If, however, to go back to what you were saying about supply and demand.
Yes.
If demand goes, I said demand again. Fuck. All right. Demand. If demand goes down, right? Because let's say, I don't know, people in gaming decide they found somewhere better to go, or third country nationals no longer need, half of Bujibba, and they're going to go to some other developing country that requires their services. If the demand doesn't continue in the way it is, or it actually decreases, wouldn't that force at least the rental market to push down the price?
Definitely. If the demand slows down, it will push down the price.
Mm-hmm.
Even I believe that if the Airbnb properties now at the end of this month are released back on long let, that will bring down
more
the
stock.
price. Because
Okay.
I believe some people did very well with Airbnb, and some people didn't do so well. So most likely the ones that didn't do so well will put their property back on long-term lease,
Right.
which will add more properties to the market. When you add more properties to the market, the prices go down.
Right.
When you don't have any properties in the market, the prices go up. Going back to the ROI. So today, I'm not.
Yeah.
I am definitely not saying it's not good to invest in property, but it's a different ball game today. So you could get a decent return if you buy right. But at the same breath, I don't think over the next couple of years you're going to see the appreciation of properties as much as we've seen it in the last 10. So everybody has to calculate that.
Right.
And everybody has to think twice about buying a rental investment, depending on how much money you're going to invest in that. Someone who's just going to go to the bank and get a 70% loan.
Yeah.
I would advise them to wait another year and save some more money, put 50% in the property, and then take a 50% loan. So you don't outweigh yourself, and you're more careful about what you're doing.
So your advice right now is to not take a mortgage and
not take too much of a mortgage.
Too sizable a mortgage in order to buy right, like as a rental investment.
Exactly.
Okay, and obviously the less people buy, the less the price goes up. So it's a very complicated. Do you think about this stuff a lot?
We think about it a lot. We discuss it a lot. We study it a lot. We have our own database, which is our own. We built our own program, so we have CRM. We have everything. Touch of a button, I can do a CRM of this street here, how warehouses, how much they're worth, what was the last one sold from all our data. We're always looking at data. We're always studying what's happening, trying to see what's going on. You know, office space, like for instance, at the moment is a bit in trouble. But, you know, when we're talking like this, I'm not just talking Malta. Most of the other countries in Europe are being hit much harder than Malta. So it's you know, Malta, yes, we're probably heading into a bit of a tough time for the next couple of years. I believe it. I believe.
What do you mean? What do you mean tough time?
Tough time. It's looking like it's gonna be a tough time. Yeah, it's become expensive to live. I believe people are living beyond their means. I believe we became a little bit of a like the Americans, a bit of a credit card society. And all good comes to an end. Let's just hope it's not a crashing end, you know?
Yeah. I mean, like part of the concern must be, I guess. Like, for example, last time me and you were having that discussion about, you know, people, for example, from gaming, which I feel were part of the first, like, big bang for Malta to really start, you know, with these high-end rents and obviously that, as we're saying, pushed up the price of the rest of the market. But they're all about quality of life for their workers.
Yes.
Now, if, you know, you're in some area and your workers, every time they leave the house, there's garbage everywhere and there's noise and there's, you know, the quality of life is dipping. Like, you're spending a lot of money for a property that's in a community that isn't.
No, but in the community, the SDAs, they don't have that issue because they have garbage rooms. They don't have these issues.
But most of the workers won't live in the SDAs. It's like
the average workers, but to be honest, they're the ones who probably cause most of the garbage and the problems anyway.
So once they leave,
I wouldn't blame the Maltese on that.
Okay.
All right. I wouldn't blame the Maltese on that. I mean, yeah, there are a few, but we're quite proud about our country. And unfortunately, but at the same breath, you can't expect a foreign guy. He has garbage in his house. He's got nowhere to put it. Yeah. So what does he do? He goes downstairs and just puts it on the sidewalk. Yeah. He's got nowhere to put it. In his home.
Yeah, there's also the effect that it's not his country.
He's got a place to do it. I don't think it's his country. Just he wants the garbage out of his house so his apartment doesn't stink, but he's got nowhere to put his garbage.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and this is something we definitely need to fix.
Know your food. Book your food intolerance and allergy test now. Browns.
Il-ħobża tal-Malti. Il-ħobża tal-Maltin. Minant il-Maypole.
Listen, you mentioned SDAs twice. And again, I think most of the audience is not familiar with the special designated areas.
It's called a special designated area. What it really means, basically, is if I'm a third-party national,
right,
from a third-party country, like India, America, whatever, I can buy as many properties as I want in an SDA.
Right.
If even Europeans can buy as many properties as they want. They're still bound to only buy one property in Malta.
So if you're EU,
you can buy more properties. You can form a company. There's many ways to do it. But you're
wherever you want all over the island.
If you're a third party national, third country national, that's the word. You would need to, if you bought outside an SDA, you need to apply for an AIP permit.
Okay.
Which sometimes is easy to get and sometimes is not so easy to get.
What would make it difficult to get?
They would do due diligence on the person.
Okay.
You know, due diligence on the person. They would look at the property, what he's buying. It would have to be a certain amount as well. I believe it's quite low, the amount. So pretty much any apartment. But obviously, they buy in the SDA, and they can buy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So for SDA, though, they can buy as many as one. SDAs are Tigne Point, Pender,
Mercury.
There was that one on the
Fort Cambridge,
and the one in l-ahhar. That's on the corner. that all of a sudden became an SDA midway through the construction. I forgot the name of it.
Which
You know the one in Melliħa you're going to Adira. It's on a corner. Naħseb tal-gap kien.
Yes, tal-gap. Yes. That became an SDA as well.
Yeah, and Tassellum and all those. Who decides that, okay, this...
No, I think you have to give some assessments to the planning authority, but you pay a fee, quite a hefty fee, and it becomes an SDA. And I believe there are things, you have to have a swimming pool, you have to have amenities inside the SDA, you have to have, like I believe you need a pharmacy, you need stuff like that to keep an SDA.
Okay.
Hilton, Port Tomaso's an SDA as well.
Yeah. All right. So this was relevant to the conversation because, Julie wanted to point out that an AIP is an acquisition of immovable property.
Yes.
Right. So basically you need that from probably the Commissioner of
Revenue.
Of Revenue. Yeah. All right. So do you have conversations with people that are in business, that are, international companies that are here? What kind of feedback do you get? Because I mean, I imagine that you interface with these people quite a bit.
Quite a bit, yeah. Quite a bit.
What's the feedback you're getting?
At the moment, it's a 50-50 swing.
Okay.
Some aren't happy with the situation. Some aren't happy with the garbage and the usual stuff that everybody's talking about nowadays. Some of them just adore Malta. Yesterday, funnily enough, I went out for lunch with an old client of mine. He's in his late 70s, and there were 3 Swiss bankers with him, but 3 retired Swiss bankers, all over 80.
Yeah.
And you should hear the story because we're talking about the banks here, but at the moment now, and they were telling me stories about what they used to do in Switzerland back in those days because they were Swiss bankers. Even with the the trucks pulling up in the back of the bank and the cash coming out of the trucks. And you know how they used to measure how much there was by weight?
But weighing scales.
By weighing scales.
There's a good movie by Sorrentino, the guy who won the Oscar for La Grande Bellezza. The film is called La conseguenza dell'amore. You speak Italian? No? Well, the consequence of love, basically. And it's about this banker who fucks up somewhere in Italy for the mafia.
Yes.
So they send him out to the Alps. They like him. Like, he just made a mistake. It cost them a lot, but they don't want to kill him. So they kind of send him to this resort, which is like his prison for the rest of his life, where all he does is this kind of stuff. Like, the mafia comes in, big truck, and his job is to make sure that the transfer is successful. Then obviously he falls in love with a girl, tries to rob money from the mafia. Turns out great for him. Not. Yeah. So it seems like the way that the price of property went up, the way the sales went up, was through this issue through what is now becoming the issue of overpopulation. And we're kind of agreeing here that this could potentially kill the goose that lays the golden egg.
Could do.
How do we avoid that?
That's a very good question. And obviously the other thing that's happened in Malta is the amount of, the taxi drivers and the workers. We've got over 25,000 of them that freshly came to Malta in the last 2-3 years, right?
No, last year alone was 21,000 and
Right.
21,500.
Right. And you asked about what is keeping the demand of the rents being so high. Even though there were quite a few gaming people who have left the island because now a lot of people are working from home. Don't forget. These people have actually went into flats in Slima. But there's 6, 8, 10 of them. So they can afford the rent. You know, they're either their boss has rented it for them or they pooled in together to rent. I know my agents rent these kind of properties all the time, sharing properties. And that's what's kept the rental market so high. I mean, at the end of the day, landlord, if he wants $1,800 a month and he's got a Swedish couple or 8 Indians,
Yeah.
He doesn't really care as long as he gets $1,800 a month, right?
I used to, because I was I started out a letting agent and I did some sales and stuff like that. When I was doing that job, like people were quite diligent about the type of persons that you bring over to my house. Like there were some clients that were like, okay, but what's their job? How old are they? Do they have kids? Do you think they drink? Oh, fuck, I spoke to them over the phone for 5 minutes. I don't know.
Yes. I went to the stage where they wouldn't rent to Maltese.
Yeah, I hear
Because of
that.
the rent laws.
I hear that.
I mean, we had Maltese families who genuinely needed a home and no one would rent to them. They were petrified that they would stay in their home, stop paying rent. I mean, I went through that phase. I always did my best to try and help the people, and even, you know, with Libyans. There was a time where you told any landlord you got a Libyan that wants to rent back in the 90s.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah,
You used to have to struggle. And I always used to help them, and I became quite popular with them. And some of them, you can't take a country and say they're all bad.
Mushek.
They're not all bad.
Mushek.
But, you know, it's the way it is.
I used to hang out at Havana with quite a few Libyans, and they were, well, like super smart, actually. Like some of them were here on scholarships.
Yeah.
So, do you think that, do you possibly conceive that these, not boatloads, but rather mass number of foreign workers that that we keep bringing over? Do you think the government is worried that if he stops bringing them over, we could potentially have
A financial crisis.
a financial crisis?
I think so, but as we go along, our quality of life is deteriorating. I mean, how long can you staying in traffic? How long can you stay seeing, garbage? I mean, one of the things that really irritates me is a simple thing. I can't understand how it's happened, but why the hell would anybody buy garbage cans that are designed as a teddy bear? So my kids go run to the teddy bear and touch the garbage, or anybody else's kids go, because that's what kids do. A 2-year-old sees a teddy bear.
Yeah.
He's going to go touch it.
Yeah.
I mean, you put a teddy bear garbage in your backyard. You don't put a teddy bear garbage on the front in Tower Road. I mean, but unfortunately, in let's not call it politics, in government authorities, we just have a lot of people that don't really know what the hell they're doing.
Does that bother you?
Of course it bothers me. The common sense bothers me. Hold on, I'm not planning a picture on everyone. But
Right.
you meet a lot of people that don't have common sense.
Right.
And aren't really willing to work.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, it's a big question mark of where we're heading.
You seem to think about that a lot. Another thing I want to ask you about, perhaps you have some visibility on. Again, to go to your primary point, which is, John, it's like supply and demand, right? So one thing that, we often discuss in conversations is every time the census comes out, there's 80,000 vacant properties that are vacant, right? So should the government be taxing those people in order to incentivize them to come back onto the market? Because that will get more stock, so maybe it will balance out the prices.
I can tell you right now that there's not 80,000 vacant properties.
Okay.
There isn't 80,000 vacant properties.
Okay.
Definitely not. Why are they vacant? Maybe people are using them. Then we have a lot of Maltese who have summer homes, so they use them as well.
Right.
I think the government should simply just get a computer, attach it to all their meters, and if their meter's running, they have to ask why it's vacant.
Correct.
That's the simplest way to do it. Look, my opinion, and I'm 100% with the new 15% tax of rentals.
Right.
And I'm not saying anybody should have ever cheated the government of their tax, but with 15% tax, everybody should pay tax. And I think there should be severe fines if people don't pay tax.
If people don't pay at least that 15%.
It's a straight 15%. It's as easy as can be. Unfortunately, in life, not just Malta, everywhere in the world, the government takes tax. So you just have to calculate, look, if I'm renting for $1,000 a month, $850 is mine and $150 is the government's.
Right.
But at least it's not like it was before, where 55% was the government's and 45% was yours.
At which point was it like that?
You have to pay 35% tax.
Right.
On your income. You have to pay, back then, the license fee of the flat. You have to pay the agent to rent it for you. Do the math. It's 55% or 54%.
It adds up.
It adds up. And yeah, back then, I understood that no one wanted to pay tax or they wanted to lower the price. But today, it's a straight 15% tax. No one should be avoiding that.
Right. So what you're saying is that these people that are saying that their property is vacant just need to head over to the fucking housing authority and register as a rental property.
Exactly.
But you do see some properties that are vacant, like I know, like Rudolph Street.
The abandoned properties are a different story. The abandoned properties are very simple.
Right. What would you do?
Family of 8 people. You've got 3 in Australia, 2 in America, 2 in London, and 1 in Malta. They can't agree on nothing, and it's going to stay empty forever. I would text them on it. Mm-hmm. I would say, if you have a dare, I would give them a year to get their shit together.
Right.
And tell them, look, from January 2025, first, if you don't do nothing with that property, we're going to tax you X amount of the value of that property per year.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's normal in many, many countries that there's a tax of the value of your property every year.
There's a tax even if it's not vacant.
Yes, even if it's not. No, in America, you have to pay anywhere from 1% to 2% of the value of your property every year as tax. But then you have garbage collection, you have the fire hydrants, the meters, the water, everything taken care of, and you don't have to ever...
You have an upgraded or well-maintained community.
Community, exactly.
Are you in favor of that?
I would love to see that. And I'm working very hard on it because I've just bought an international franchise for property management, so condominiums and stuff like that. So we will officially, we're already working quite well. We've got quite a few condominiums, but I will sort of launch it properly.
But what you're talking about is private enterprise here.
Yes.
For you.
Yes.
No, I'm saying, would you be in favor of, let's say, if we all had to pitch in 1% of the value of our property in order for every year, so we'd have cleaner roads?
I'd want to be sure that what we're paying for we'll get.
Yeah.
Okay, because yes, I would. Look, if it's going to make the community better and it's going to make our quality of life better, I think yes.
Okay.
It should happen, but
if you're going to just take my 1% and
don't just come and take my money and I walk outside my door and I first step on the first piece of dog shit that's been there for 5 days. You understand what I'm trying to say? Or I'm behind the garbage truck, which is smoke and exhaust is actually killing people in the street.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, if you pay, and then you'll see how clean things get.
Okay. So I'm getting that you're for taxing vacant properties if it means, getting these properties back on the market, helping with the stock, obviously making our streets less unsightly as well, because, some of these derelict properties are just a fucking eyesore. Like Rudolph Street, for example.
But sometimes you can't blame them. I mean, if they're in arguments and the families in Australia, it's difficult.
I know.
Difficult.
Mushek, but it's difficult, but that's the job of the government, is to deal with difficult shit.
But probably out of the group of the family, let's say there's 10 kids.
Yeah.
There are probably 5 of them that do want to solve it. So if they put a tax on these derelict property, you would be helping those 5 people. And probably the 5 people that want to solve it are the ones who live in Malta. So you would be helping people actually cash in on their inheritance.
Yeah.
Because family feuds are a big problem with property, especially in places like Valletta. I would say densely, Valletta probably has the most vacant properties.
Yeah, probably. I think Hamroon has a shit ton as well, like Stradariali.
Yes.
Has a shit ton.
Marsa
as well.
Marsa.
But then there's also there's hotels like in Patreville that are fucking empty,
Yeah, but I know which ones you're talking about, but they're going to be developed very soon, those.
Okay, so they're on the back burner.
Yes, on the back burner, yeah. All Patreville will be developed.
What's the plan for Patreville?
Let's hope it's, I mean, Mercury Towers, it took a long time, but it looks like the end product's going to be, quite nice. I think it would give a big uplift in the area. I mean, the place was a rat's nest, as we all know, even though as youngsters, we loved going to the rat's nest. But, but yeah, I think it's a big upgrade. I mean, not just Mercury Towers, the opposite side of the street, there's all new boutique hotels and restaurants and new apartment blocks and new offices being built in the back streets. They need to clean up Potchefstroom. I think
Potchefstroom is going to turn into like a big business area.
Well, I personally think that Potchefstroom will remain for the youngsters.
There will be an area.
That area where, where I'm talking about, going down the hill, that will remain for the youngsters. I believe the new DB building, the new Tony Franchise building down by the sandy beach. Mm-hmm. I think
which DB building? Wait a second.
DB is where ITS is.
Oh fuck, that's a painful one for me.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, man.
But if you look at the project and the layout of it, at least they're not building 35-story towers. They're building lower.
For me, it's not even the aesthetics, Kev. I'll be fucking honest. It's really. Like, aesthetics are subjective, and maybe that areas for that, I haven't thought that part through. But you're in real estate, so you understand that land they got for like fuck all, when you compare the market price. Darba qed naħdimha like it's probably more expensive biex nixtri area l-stradarja l-ħamruna, and that's fucking amazing real estate over there.
Amazing real estate. I mean, at the end of the day, let's not talk about the price. But the truth is, one argument which is very valid is how many schools in the world actually have a sea view? There aren't any. I mean,
probably not.
Probably not. So ITS was also a wasted piece of real estate for a long time. Because, I mean, ITS...
Too longs don't make it right, though,
No, I'm okay. I'm with you. But I think what he's going to do now, he will upgrade. He definitely upgrade the area. Okay, it's going to be a modern Hard Rock hotel. The apartment blocks, but they're not 38 stories like they were going to be. They're only 17.
Okay.
So, because we just had the brief with him.
So aesthetically is better. For me, as a I feel like I'm a shareholder in the country, and I feel like you feel that as well. Like
I want to help as much as I can, whichever way I can. I want to help. Right?
So for me, it's like, okay, that guy is a negotiator. Like he's gonna get the best deal he's gonna get.
If he didn't take that land, someone else would have. I hate to say it, so we can't hold it against him.
But it was the job of the people that we pay to negotiate on our behalf to get at least what the fucking land's worth. From a purely now I'm talking from a purely commercial standpoint.
I'm in agreement 1,000,000% with you. No, I'm in agreement. Property should be sold at the right price. People paying low rents in certain areas, and now the 2028 rule, which will come to an end now, because in 2028 all commercial.
Tell me about that.
All commercial business leases should be ratified, and the tenant would either have to leave the premises because his lease ends,
okay,
or renegotiate with the landlord.
All right, and this all happens in 2028.
Yeah, those are private. Then the government lands. They will give it to them. They will give it to them at around the 70% of the actual rental value of that day. So meaning, if I've been renting for £2 Maltese a day for the last 30 years, in 2028, that's going to come to an end, which is only fair. And I won't have to pay the full whack. But if I got it right, I could be slightly wrong. But from conversations, I think I'm there. 60 to 70% of the actual value of the rent, I could sign a new lease with the government.
Okay,
I believe that's the case, and I think it's fair. It's fair.
What about commercial? Because I think we discussed residential a fair bit. How's the commercial marketing?
Office spaces, I would say, across the board.
Can we get some ice? Thank you.
Office space across the board, I would say, depending on what area. Like I told you before, the gaming, and I don't think it's not just the gaming, because even look, besides the gaming people coming here and spending money,
Right.
you know, and let's not call them all because
It's more complicated than just gaming, right?
It's more complicated than gaming because actually only 10% of the companies are actually gambling companies.
Right.
The other 90% are related to the gaming.
Right.
You know, you've got massive companies that actually just create the cartoons of the slot machines. But we call them gaming companies. And I know one of them who's one of the biggest, he's an American guy here.
Yeah.
And his argument with the bank was, you don't want to deal with me because I'm a gambling company. But I'm not a gambling company. I'm a cartoonist. Don't you understand it? I just make the Incredible Hulk. And, you know, I mean, and this guy, I meet him down there, City of London, not City of London, Lady Di, Tigne Street, having a beer almost every day, you know, and these are creators, you know. So yeah, they're, and hold on, at the same breath, it's legal. So why are the banks against them? Why is everybody giving them a hard time? But the gambling community, or whatever you want to call it, they've also taught the Maltese businessmen how to treat their own staff. I've seen lots of Maltese companies that have done a lot for their staff and believe in their staff today. I mean, and you know, giving them insurance, giving them private health care, giving them, you know, having a fruit bowl in the where everybody can just grab a piece of fruit when they want.
Mine is whiskey, man.
Yeah, well,
it's good enough.
It's good enough,
I think.
But you know, so I think we've learned a lot from them as well. I think. Culture-wise.
And they've left a lot of money, I think.
No, and they've earned a lot of money and they've saved a lot of tax. So I get a bit upset when someone starts talking bad about Malta, where I know how much they've benefited. Yeah, complain about the garbage on the floor. That's fine. But don't complain about all Maltese in general that we're dirty.
Right.
Because I hate to say it, it's probably your employee that put that garbage there. It's probably not a Maltese, especially in the Slim area.
Well, you mentioned the banks as well.
At the banks,
I remember when I was in property, it could be a bit of a problem when you had like foreign clients, and
we spent 2-3 years with the banks, pretty much hell. You know, the poor kids that were coming over to work here, and all companies opening even a bank account for a company was a nightmare. I will admit that 2023, they have started to improve.
Right.
They actually know their issue, but we all have to realize it's not actually the banks. It's the ECB of the European Union who is on their ass 24/7 with a magnifying glass. And there ain't no playing around there. So we're not living in a society anymore like it used to be, which was nice.
It had its advantages.
It didn't just have your advantages. You weren't a number. You were a person. And your person, there was a bank manager that would take care of 100 people.
Yeah.
And that bank manager, you just pick up the phone and say, I've got this issue today. Can you please help me out? And he'd help you.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, with this ECB, which is obviously coming from the European Union, I'm sure the gray listing didn't help us. I mean, but there's nothing we can do about that. Let's talk about the future, not go backwards. But the banks are under a microscope. But I know for a fact all of them are doing their best to make life easier. And, you know, it's easy to get angry and swear at them and whatever. If their hands are tied, their hands are tied. There's nothing you can do. And unfortunately, it's not just Malta. It's everywhere.
So these people are experiencing this kind of this level of scrutiny, this difficulty in kind of bureaucratic weight.
Yes. You take money from the European Union, you need to follow their rules.
Right. So it's not like a case where we're finding it a bit harder to adapt.
I think it is a case that we're also, very good point. We are finding it harder to adapt. Maybe we aren't as efficient today as we should be because we don't have the workforce. The banks have big trouble with workforce as well.
Yeah, maybe AI is going to come and clean all of that up.
Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen with AI?
Possibly.
I'm petrified of AI, but I'm not a computer guy. I'm really not.
So why are you scared?
Oh, I think number one, it's coming too fast. It's really coming too fast. I mean, AI is really premature. I mean, we're just experiencing what we know in the last 10 years. I mean, AI is just boom, and it's
very daunting. Ooh.
It's daunting. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I'm scared of it.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, the previous podcast, right, that we shot, the previous podcast last week was with a guy called Dylan Segal who teaches AI at the university. And it's interesting because this guy has been teaching AI at the university for a number of years. Before anyone even knew what AI was, this guy thought, a bit like you, he thought, yes, I'm doing this for the rest of my life. And while other people weren't really, they hadn't clicked on yet.
Well, I just said I'm petrified of AI, but Remax is the first company in Europe that our website is AI.
You
can talk
whatever.
to it.
Fueled is not a good.
You can talk to it. Our agents can talk to it and ask them. I need to see all the listings in Rudolph Street. And the computer gives it to me.
Okay, so it's voice recognition.
AI. It's AI. It's crazy.
Mid-sponsors. It's the time for the mid-sponsors. Dan il-program huwa miġġub lilkom mill-Hungry Hippie, il-Vina Capricci ta' Abram, il-Browns, il-Maple, l-Cabs, il-Kutriko, il-Garmin, Apex Media, GSA Technologies, ESS Electra kif ukoll 9986-6425 huwa n-numru mux ta' Derek imma biex il-laħmiet li jaslu fuq l-adba tijak ibikkuk bil-pjaċir, bil-kontent tibda tifrax, moħk jisplodi u jisir 100,000 pork shop. 996645 jasalik fuq l-adba Derek. So I was speaking to Dylan last time, and we broke it down. Like we did the whole history of computers, which was very difficult for me to because I'm not a technologically oriented human being.
Totally not.
However, I do have a great penchant to learn, so I was really focused and I really tried to kind of understand what the history of this thing, how did we get here? And it's extremely fascinating. It's extremely powerful, and it's, as you're saying, the growth has been exponential. So all of a sudden, much like we saw with the property prices in Malta, all of a sudden AI just became, just like computing power, just became this huge super tidal wave that is still roaring and amassing power as we speak. Might be the most fantastic thing that's ever happened to us, or it might be, Terminator.
I don't know. In America, we had a cartoon called The Jetsons.
Yeah, I remember the Jetsons.
Are we gonna? Okay, that'd be the cool part. I walk in my kitchen and I say, ham cheese toast, and I get a ham cheese toast, or beer, and I get a beer. That's cool, but it's scary. I think it's scary, and I think it's very scary for a lot of people.
To be honest, after I spoke to Dylan, I was less fearful. Also, I think a lot of my fear was coming from the fact that I didn't know anything, about it. So I think
I'm the same. I missed that part of school. But then at the same breath, don't forget, I'm a real estate agent that worked in this industry without a mobile phone.
How do you do that?
You know what? I'm trying to recollect what I used to do. I mean, imagine I am showing 6 apartments.
Right.
And John is the third one, and John decided to go and get drunk, and he didn't show up. How am I going to get in contact with you? I'm going to wait 20, 30 minutes for you, and then I go to the next meeting. I'm late. Domino effect. I'm sure that was the case because we didn't have mobile phones. Then I remember the mobile phone finally came out. It was like a brick. So you felt very powerful because you had a weapon in your hand. If anybody bothered you, you'd hit them over the head with a brick. And but then it was crazy. I remember, I forget, 45 cents Maltese per minute, but it only calculated per minute. So if you only phone someone for 3 seconds, you still got charged the 45 cents. And if you were 1 minute and 1 second, you got charged 90 cents.
Yeah. And and I think there was a function where from your landline, your parents could lock your ability to phone mobile.
Yes, because they were having big issues with that.
Yeah. Mushek. Like there would be like that one girl that has a mobile phone.
The mobile was this big.
Yeah,
and I remember people walking around pretending that they're on the phone. You know, it was a big thing. You know.
Yeah. And then SMS came in, but that was a lot later.
SMS later.
A lot later.
The beepers, whatever you call them, where they would just send you their number, telling you basically phone me back.
El pager.
Pager.
SkyTel, I think it was.
In the States, we called it beeper.
The beeper. But I remember
every drug dealer had one.
I was gonna say I don't. Oh. And you remember like there was this website, I think Go had this website where you could go online and you have 8 free SMSs.
Oh yes, there were all those gimmicks,
So before you leave the house, okay, who do I need to fucking speak to today? Or hold on, who am I sending a message to? You know? You do the plan, and then you can leave the house.
No, and then it was all about having the smallest phone, and then it became again having the biggest phone.
Yeah. Happened at around the same time of...
We've seen so much of these things change in life. It's incredible. It's just been 25 years. We're not talking 50 years. We're talking 25 years. I mean, lots have changed.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I remember coming to Malta. Today I'm 52 years old. You know, all the houses were still there. All the seafront, Tower Road, all the way around was all houses. That's a shame. That's where we're screwed up big time.
Where?
Well, those houses on Tower Road, all the way around. Okay, I know they're worth huge money because they're beautiful seafront flats, whatever. But if those houses were kept, those would be the 10 million euro houses today. And those people who sold them would have made much more money than they made by building them into flats.
Yeah. I think similarly, Tashbish is still a bit like that.
Tashbish is still like that, thank God. And I don't think it will ever be touched, thank God.
I remember it being so hard. Like I used to have clients to find that wanted to buy in Tashbish.
Yeah, a house in Tashbish just sold for 9.8 million.
Yeah, it's crazy.
9.8 million. Nice house.
And that, I get what you're saying about it's a 10 million euro house. Yeah, that's they've put up a little bit of nostalgia in black and white there. Yeah. Are you a nostalgic person?
I don't think so, no. You know, I like seeing these things, but at the same time, I don't get emotionally attached. Being in the real estate business, one thing I've learned, you can't be emotionally attached to any property. I've sold some properties which I didn't want to sell, but needed to because needed cash, you know. You just got to do it. It's better than being drowned by the bank or sitting on a cross in your office like this.
Has it ever been hard for you?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Don't think that I had it rosy. Oh, I've had some tough times. I've invested, not badly, overinvested.
Right.
Got myself, you know, you know how the phone is? Remember the unknown numbers? You look at your phone and you say, oh, unknown number, that's the bank.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Fuck, what do I tell them? You know, I was there for about 2-3 years.
When was that?
2007, 2008, 2006, around there, yeah. It was for Cambridge. I bought with some partner 7 units, and I had bought 8 units on my own. And I was getting them ready to rent them out and blah, blah, blah. And sometimes they wouldn't rent. They'd take time to rent them. Well, I was getting myself. But back in those days, thank God, it was what it was. Today, if I was in that situation, boom, I'd be done.
All right, explain that a bit more. What do you think, what kept you afloat?
Back in those days, the bank literally helped you.
Right.
You know, back in those days, I had help. You know,
what kind of help?
They understood. Listen, I'm waiting for, you know, money to come in, and as soon as it comes in, and they knew that I wasn't bullshitting them. As soon as I'm going to go straight with them. I'm not going to go and spend it.
Because you had a relationship with them.
I had a good relationship. But yeah, I mean, today, the banks, listen, my relationship with the bank is quite good, and they do help me, but I don't think they'd be able to help me as much as because of the rules and
It's
regulations
more stringent
today.
now.
You know, it was a tough time. It was everybody was having a hard time at that time. People selling apartments on plan at that time had completely come to a halt. 2007, 2008, 2009 were tough years for everybody. Don't forget, it was the worldwide recession, even though I don't think that Malta really felt the worldwide recession that bad. I think we came out of that worldwide recession like champions.
Why do you think we succeeded in doing that?
I think a lot has to do, to be honest, which is nothing to do with what we did. It's the fact that we're a little island. Little islands in recessions do not get affected as much as the big places.
But wasn't Iceland, for example, like Iceland really
but
good?
Iceland had a screw up with their banks. That's another thing we need to mention.
Right.
The banks, even, forget the ECB and now that they're tough, but the banks have always been stringent in Malta. They never played around excessively and gave loans bla Deutsch to anybody. They gave loans, and they gave loans to friends, I know. But they always took care.
Right.
And, all those countries that had the problems with the banks, none of our banks in Malta ever had a problem, right? No one went for a bailout, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, all the banks went for a bailout. There isn't one bank that didn't go for a bailout, right? So
we were responsible, you're saying?
we were responsible.
And that's what kept us afloat?
I think that's what kept us alive, and we were human. So we knew that there was a recession.
Right.
Back in those days, we could help the person, and they helped. But today, I don't think we can because of the ECB, and that's the scary part.
Right.
Because what's nice about Malta is the fact
It's like you're forecasting like that there might be a crash?
No, crash. You mean a crash, property prices go down?
But like li ħajweġġaw in-nies.
Yes, I believe there would be not just Malta, the whole world. It's coming. It's coming. It's going to be
But let's stay local because obviously
a tough time.
This goes out to the Maltese public.
Yes, there's going to be a tough time
right
ahead of us, I believe.
Do you think there are people that have overexposed themselves, for example?
There are lots of people who overexpose themselves. There are lots of people who have overinvested, as same thing, overexposed themselves. But some people have bought very badly.
Okay, describe what does that mean to buy very badly?
You think that you're something. You got some money, maybe. Good luck to you.
Right.
And you go and buy a site.
Right.
I would have been doing the math, maybe myself or one of my agents, and we say this site is worth 900,000, and you hear that this guy bought it for 1.3 million. What do you mean 1.3 million? I was buying at 900,000 and hoping to make 250,000 profit. So he bought it for more, and you start laughing. But there's lots of people that do that.
Why? Why do they do that?
Because they see people making money in property.
Right. Would you like more water, by the way?
Yes, please. They see people making, and listen, it's a myth. Not every single person that's in property makes money.
Okay.
There are a lot of people that lose money.
But we see so many fucking Lamborghinis and so many Porsches, like they're wearing Armani head to toe. It gives you the impression that
it's super and it's a lovely car and they like to show off. But you need to go and ask if the car is fully paid for. Because we have.
What's your estimation?
50% of them aren't paid for. They're with loans. And in my opinion, anybody who goes and takes a loan for a Lamborghini is a fucking idiot. All right? I mean...
TikTok go...
yeah. I mean...
yeah, I agree, because but is the Lamborghini... Okay, I know jack shit about Lamborghinis. Does a Lamborghini appreciate or depreciate over time?
I guess that's something you'd have to ask someone who's into cars. But I know for a fact that Ferraris... I'm not sure Lamborghinis, but Aston Martins and Jaguars, because I have a client who actually has a warehouse in Scotland, full of Ferraris.
Okay,
he keeps them in a bubble.
All right,
and he's one of every time a new Ferrari comes out, he's one of the first 50 that gets invited to buy.
Okay,
and he loves Malta, for instance, but he's Scottish. He loves Malta because of the sun. He loves Malta because of the pint of beer is still $3.50 and not 10. 12,
doesn't sound like it's a concern for him. No. He owns 50 Ferraris.
Yes, no. He did very well for himself. That was a good business. They were in the oil and gas business. Actually, he made his money with Maltese.
So,
He was the biggest supplier for Maltese to oil and gas countries all over the world.
Let's go back a bit to this issue that you think some developers have overexposed themselves, have maybe bought sites wrongly, like make the wrong calculations.
There are many of them, but then you've got your strong ones who are just solid as a rock. I'm telling you. So and you're going to have, I would say, 30-40%. Yes.
So in a bloodbath, what happens? What's the outcome?
Bloodbath. It's good for certain people because you can take, for some people, they can buy an apartment cheaper, they can buy the land cheaper, they can buy, when someone's in trouble. Look, the cost of everything. If you need to sell fast, there's a cost to it.
Right, urgency.
The urgency. And that, I believe, in the next year or two, this will start happening. And how can you figure these things out? Go to your local butcher and ask him if his meat sales are down. I guarantee you the butcher will tell you he's selling a lot of chicken right now. Go to your friend who has a restaurant.
Right.
And tell him, my God, you're doing very well. And it's true. Every time you see the restaurant, you see it packed. But then ask him, how's it going? And he'll tell you, Kev, I'm full, but my average spend is down by 20-30%. They don't come here and take 3 starters, 2 bottles of wine, and a nice fish.
Yeah.
They come here and have a plate of pasta and go home.
Yeah.
So
how does
we need to stop looking at what
it looks like.
What glitters isn't always gold.
So how does that relate to the overexposed developer? Is it because perhaps he bought a lot, there's loans, and he needs to repay those loans, and people aren't buying the property, the stock. So he's holding stock.
Or he's not delivering in time because he can't afford to pay the building cost. Because if he bought a site 2 years ago,
right,
and the building cost went up by 30-40%,
yeah, big problem. Oh.
He's screwed. I mean, I look, thank God I'm in the position I am. I have a site which I'm building at the moment. It's an airspace. It's an old, I own the penthouse, and I'm building 5 flats. Thank God one of the tenants came and complained that in the garage there's some concentura, and I brought the architect to check it out, and he checked it out. He said, Kev, we got problems down here. So it's going to be fixed. So they changed all my building, what I was going to build the normal Maltese way.
Right.
I had to do a steel structure with lightweight blocks. For 5 flats, you know how much it cost me? An extra 15,000 euros each flat.
Still.
But I had to do it for safety reasons. So imagine, that's just 5 flats. Imagine a guy building 30 flats.
Yeah.
You know,
So you have cost going up. People not spending that much. So the people aren't buying that many units.
And people taking too long to finish a product. Because the electrician doesn't show up for 3 months. The aluminium it should be installed in January and he doesn't come until April. These things are all costing. And if you've got a loan with the bank of 1 million euros for that project at 6% interest, that's 60,000 a year. It's eating your profit on a daily basis.
Yeah.
You know, it's 5,000 a month. Break it down. It's a lot of money.
Okay. U f'dak il-każ, ovvjament, iweġġa l-investitur, iżviluppatur għax jista'
not all, like I said, not all of them. There are some very strong ones who do a good job, or blah, blah, blah.
But you're saying there's also cowboys?
Oh, big time. Oh, I'd say 50 to 60% are cowboys.
How do you identify a cowboy?
Just the way, I mean, he delivers his product too.
Right.
I mean, I can look at a property today with all my years of experience and know whether it's been done properly or just been done boom, 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 boom. I can see that the tile is a good tile or not a good tile. The bathroom is a good bathroom and not a good bathroom. That the plastering has actually been done properly. Hey, these are things you can see. I mean, there's loads.
And generally, if the work isn't at a standard, then that person is, or that developer is generally a bit more of a cowboy.
Of course he is. I mean, and then the worst part is he gets away with it. I mean,
I'm asking cowboy in the sense,
look,
in the spending kind of sense.
I do business in Montenegro, which is supposed to be considered a third world country, right? if you go to Montenegro,
I wasn't aware. It's a third world country. I mean, I know they're just coming out of the Balkan conflict.
But it's
and all of
considered like a third world country.
Like a developing country.
Like a
let's say.
developing country.
Okay.
Okay, let's use it. Okay, those are nicer words. But the truth is, when they deliver an apartment, they deliver it perfect.
Right.
I've sold property there to German clients of mine, and they actually think that their building is equivalent to the Swiss. That's Montenegro. So how come here, every time you get an apartment, you need 40 or 50 snags? 40 or 50 snags. Why does the guy do his plastering and run his plastering over the plug of the electrician? I mean, these are just crazy things, you know.
Yep.
They can be fixed, yes, but why should they be fixed? Why shouldn't I just
walk
spend?
in.
The person has just spent probably the biggest investment he'll ever do in his life.
Right.
Why should he stay fixing these things?
Correct.
He should be handed a key, should be handed a nice bottle of wine to congratulate him, and he should go into his apartment and be happy, not start crying because everything's wrong.
The issue with people over-investing and overexposing themselves, how does that affect the client?
That would affect the client, that if the client has invested into that product, it could not be done. You know, I can't say the name because I think it's illegal to say. There's a certain developer in Malta who owned over 50 sites. He's went bankrupt. He's collected over, if I'm not mistaken, just under 700 couples or people. He's collected anywhere between 20 to 30, 40,000 euros deposits from them and went bankrupt.
Okay.
And now there's a group of people trying to fix mush fix for him.
Right.
But they're trying to fix the situation. But unfortunately, from what I understand, these couples who would have spent every penny that they've ever saved in their life to buy a house, the people who are trying to fix it are saying, look, we can't give you 30,000 back. We'll give you 15. Which, telling
But
you...
doesn't the money stay with the notary?
No, in this case, he was getting all the money in his pocket.
He was taking the
It's
money.
not illegal if you accept.
It's not illegal. Yeah,
if
yeah,
you
yeah.
accept it, you accept it.
Should you accept it?
I don't think so, unless you trust the
Developer bajnek maluqa.
and you know him,
U ilek tafu.
and he's got a track record. I wouldn't trust a cowboy with my deposit. You know, someone a no name, but there are lots of names out there.
Ġiri u bażikament kienet joħdilhom il-flus, suppost ħad
I don't-
tipo l-pjan ma kienx li jisraqhom forsi,
The
forsi
sad-
il-pjan kien li jħaddimhom.
The sad thing is I don't believe, because I know the guy. I've met the guy a few times. I don't think he did it on purpose, which makes it even worse because he's dumb. To get yourself in this position. I mean, technically, I don't know where he was thinking. He's going to build 70, 80 million worth of property. And he's just telling the people that, oh, I've got a problem with the permits here. I got a problem.
Would this be a guy that has started out with a shit ton of money to buy the sites?
He inherited his mother's house. He got a developer to develop it. They split the properties. He sold all his and made 2 million euros. So he thought that he was rolling in it. Went out and started spreading all this money and buying all these sites, and just ended up in this situation. You know, couldn't get people to come and build for him. People were ripping him off because he was new in the business. So, you know, if I was getting excavation at X amount per square meter, he was getting at X plus. And he just screwed himself up. So he's a miskin. That's what he is. But the miskin
Around 700 couples with him, yeah.
took down 700 couples with him. That's the story. That's a sad story as well. It's horrible. There's blocks in Episodju where there was 200 units where they were all sold and all the kids lost or are in court to get their deposit.
Yeah.
You
The
know?
same developer?
No.
It's another.
There's another.
How often does this fucking shit happen?
It never used to happen so often, but lately, yes, it started to happen. These last 3-4 years, unfortunately.
And is it because of this, like new people coming into the market thinking, I have money, if I put it in property, it's going to multiply?
I'm a stationer and I own 10 stationery shops and I'm making super money.
Right.
But my friend is a developer and I'm jealous of him because he's making He's probably thinks he's making more, but probably the stationer may be making more than him. But he goes into a business which he doesn't know. You need to know what you're doing. You know, like...
Did you ever get fucked over?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Tell us about the time you got royally fucked over.
I was doing I bought a penthouse in St. Julian's, me and my wife, and I left it to her because I was really busy, and she went and bought the bathrooms. At least the bathrooms I arranged because the owner of the bathroom shop is a very good friend of mine. But the builder and the guy who completed the electricity and everything, you know, I was just so busy. I was traveling a lot at that time. I was really busy. And I got home and she told me, you need to give, he's already started the works, but you need to give him this much deposit. And I started doing my own. And I said, oh, shit, I'm being charged like triple what everybody else is being charged. And at the end, I end up like you fighting. I think I punched him.
Apex Media huma esperti fil-kamp tal-SEO għal snin sħaħ huma għenu l-klijenti tagħhom sabiex jitilgħu fil-quċċata ta' tfittxija tal-Google jekk inti qed tfittex outreach links, PBN builds, konsulenzi u kwalunkwe xorta ta' servizzi relatati ma' SEO mela kellem l-Apex Media.
We are GSE Technologies, organizer of the Green Vision Summit and Expo, and creator of the Eco Community. We've set out to educate, advocate and foster shared values for the sustenance of all. GSE Technologies is your partner in creating a sustainable and thriving world.
We had a pushing fight, and I gave him a little bit of a knock, and then we ended up in court.
Did you go to court?
Yeah, we ended up in court.
How did that go for you?
We ended up settling out of court then. He had an uncle who knew me, and they came and we sat down and
you settled.
He gave me some money back and fucked off. So
yeah, it can be very, very fucking frustrating. Yeah, has this happened a lot? You think that people made like money from, like, one thing that always just crossed my mind was like people that inherited, let's say, a townhouse or 2 townhouses in Gżira, for example. Yeah. That at the point, for most of Maltese history, that meant fuck all. Yeah. But in 2012, 13, 14, that meant big time jackpot. You no longer need to work if you don't want to. Yes. How much money do you think was made over the past 10 years?
Forget that. Just the fact that they gave everybody another floor across the whole country. That made everybody rich.
Or 2 floors, yes.
Yeah, 1 or 2. By measurement. That made everybody rich.
Yeah. If you had airspace.
If you had an airspace, it made you rich. Because the cheapest airspace is worth today 120,000 euros. Yeah. So imagine from one night to the next, you've got an extra 120 in your pocket. You know, I mean, and some were not just 120, some were, you know, millions. You know? So it just put money everywhere.
The crazy part of that, because that happened with the DC-15, no?
Yeah, the DC-15, exactly.
The crazy part of that is that, so in this country, if you want to, let's say, build a tower, you have to do like a social impact assessment, an environmental impact assessment.
Very expensive.
And you do all of those things, which I think are right, because you want to know how you're going to affect the environment, society, community, etc. Before they just went, okay, everyone, you can go like 3-4 meters higher, like overnight. There was no study for that.
It caused chaos. I remember my father swearing his head off. He lives in Slimo. And he has his garage at the back of Windsor Terrace. Right. The local council literally blocked him in. They had a crane on every corner. He couldn't get out. So he just went back in the garage and said, screw it, I'm going for a walk. I'll go down the Slimo pitch, have a swim, and that's it. I can't go anywhere.
Because everyone was just caning the construction.
It was crazy. That was without thought.
Yeah. Definitely. Or with the, I mean, was it without thought or because someone, like I'm sure people made a shit ton of money, you know, if because let's say, so this is what I think about that. Potentially, if you knew that was coming out,
oh Jesus, you would have bought every penthouse you could find.
Mushek. Not just that. Like if I bought a site and I knew that today the site I can do 4 floors
and tomorrow you can do 6.
Fucking hell, man. Like, I would come to you and give you an extra 50K just so you can just hurry up and offload. So my question is, did people know about that before that came out?
I would presume some did, yeah.
Yeah, can you imagine the motherfucker?
It's part of the game, right? It's the way it is. It doesn't matter who's there. It's gonna happen. Insider
trading, I believe it's called.
Yeah.
In Wall Street terms. So, man, listen. I know my Patreons have a bunch of questions for you, but I also have like a bit of a digression before I get to that. What makes a person a good negotiator?
A good negotiator, today especially, is a listener.
Okay.
He needs to listen and understand what the client wants.
Right.
He needs to be willing to risk and think outside the box, because sometimes what the client wants, he can never have. Mm-hmm. But you might find him in another area or wherever he is. So the biggest thing for an agent is to be focused.
To be focused.
To be focused. Build relationships with the seller and the buyers. At this moment in time, I would say it's actually even more important to build the relationship with the seller, because because we don't have supply and demand.
Okay,
it's just supply and demand. So if you have a good relationship with an owner, I can guarantee you that if he's dealing with John Malia, who never phoned her, but it's been listed on his books for 2 months, and John never gave him a ring, but I've given the client 5 phone calls and discussed 3 different clients and gave him some advice. If there's a deal going on where we're at the same par, he's going to give the deal to me. So it's all about building that relationship. Today, I would say as well, I think it's important for any young guy who's getting into the real estate business with this AI stuff, and to be computer savvy, to learn how to play with social media, to promote yourself as social media. And there's a million things that an agent can do, but the thing is, the agent needs to find what he's best at, what area he wants to work on. And I will repeat this a million times, and I've repeated it a million times with my agents. They need to farm an area. Become an expert somewhere. Become the go-to guy to buy a villa in Medina. Become the go-to guy to buy a 2-bedroom or 1-bedroom ROI apartment in Msida. Become that guy. And you become that guy by building the relationship. You don't just sign a contract with the client and that's it. You don't speak to him. Get his birthday from the ID card. Send him a birthday card. Keep in touch with him, because that guy might hit the jackpot again. He might want to buy another apartment. In a year's time from now or 5 years' time from now, that guy, he's not going to remember John Malia. Okay, you sold him the first one. But if John Malia kept in touch with him and sent him a birthday card and a Christmas card every year, he'll remember John Malia. Sure. But if you don't, or you don't keep in touch every now and again, the last agent he met in a bar, he's going to remember. And that's the way it works.
So I used to think on those lines, right? Like maybe I should...
Every agent thinks on the lines. The only thing, they don't do it.
So because then it becomes tempting, I guess. Like someone walks through the office door and goes, is there any hotels for sale? And I know fuck all about hotels. All I know about hotels is this like 70K commission.
And that's another thing. I will add this to it. I think today, the way the market is and the amount of business that's happening, agents need to learn that it's better to cooperate with another agent. You just said you know nothing about hotels, but Kevin Buttigieg knows everything about every hotel on the island. Why don't you come to me and we'll split the commission with your client? 50% of something is definitely better than 100% of nothing.
And that's what I used to do, and it really worked. Something wrong?
No.
Is the place on fire? No.
Okay. No, we're good.
We'll survive another day. I used to do that a lot. You know, I told you, in fact, I mentioned a guy, Steve Spiteri, before we got started. And Steve Spiteri wasn't even in our agency. But I had a really good way with clients. And Steve had a really, like, he really understood residential, like mid to high end residential. So I used to wind up, like, why stress to learn that part of the business where I'm really good at relationships? So I think probably 80% of my properties that I've sold, or let's say 50, I sold with Steve. And Steve I was working for 77 at the time, ta' Karl. U kien jaħdem għal Pier Fore. And we used to be at each other's office a lot. And in fact, I think more people in our office saw, oh, maybe we should just fucking collaborate. And like that, you have more properties on the books, you have more, you know, more expertise, more networks as well, you know.
Biżjed minn 20 sena esperjenza, ISS joffru għażla kbira ta' dwal, plakek, switchijiet u aċċessorji elettriċi ta' kwalità. Żurhom ġewwa showroom tagħhom fl-Imrieħel jew nkella fuq iss.com.mt. Mawra sal-ħanut ta' Derek mhux transazzjoni kif ġibu laħaq, fejn apparti tinqeda b'lifjen kwalità se tiġi mejjun sabiex issawwar l-għarfien tiegħek dwar dak li qed tiekol u titma' lil familtek. Biss jekk m'għandekx il-ħin tad-disa fejnhom il-belt, ibad WhatsApp lil Derek fuq 9986-6425 biex waslulek ix-xirja fuq l-adba.
The market is changing. The market is changing, and agents out there that aren't willing to change the way they work today will just fall by the wayside.
Do you still sell?
No. I would love to get back into it, but too busy, and I have to think about it. It's on my mind, though. It is on my mind.
Why? What's so tempting? What's so seductive?
It's the only thing I know how to do. You know?
But what takes up your time now? Aside from family and everything we mentioned, like from a professional standpoint.
I'm very involved in the back end of Remax. We're building something special, which will definitely show in the next 3 to 6 months. I've got the new property management company, which I'm very much concentrated on, which I think is something that's going to be quite a big thing in Malta in the near future. Developments, and they take a lot of your time. When you're selling, you need to be selling, you know, you need to be just focused on selling, you know. I mean, I did my bit, you know. I was #1 agent in the world of Remax 2018, you know.
In the world
of Remax, 140,000 agents.
Okay, what would you need to sell in order to be the #1 agent?
That year, I had sold about 160 million worth of property.
Shit, is that commercial?
Most of it was commercial, yeah. Most of it was commercial. About 15 million were residential out of that. But one was the big one, the Port Tommaso Tower I sold. Then some other office buildings. And
Mux the Port Tommaso Tower, 2018?
No, the contract was done in 2000, the typical building.
Ta' maġen pit-torri. Ta' faċċata ta' rokna.
Yeah, on top of Avenue.
Yeah. All right.
I sold that for 56 million as well. So that was a good year.
Yeah.
Not a bad one.
Yeah. And you missed the rush?
I missed the rush, and I spent 10 years, you know, in the top 10 of Remax worldwide. So, I mean, winning it once was good. And I missed the rush. I miss more the meeting of the people, getting to know new people. I mean, you meet a lot of assholes as well, don't get me wrong.
But assholes can be interesting too sometimes.
Yeah, you learn from them.
You learn from them. I mean, for a while they're fun, and then you're like, all right, fuck
I can tell you a funny one.
Yeah, please, go ahead.
This is it's actually a long time ago, about 20 years ago. I had an American client who walked into the office, and he had already been speaking to my partner, Ivan. And Ivan, who always screwed up and did what he wanted, he decided to go to Sicily and forgot this American client who I had rented to but wanted to buy was coming in the office on a Saturday.
Right.
So I arranged, he wanted to buy a super house with views, swimming pool, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
And I arranged Ivan helped me from where he was, and his brother, and because I wasn't doing sales at the time. So I took this guy to see 4 houses, 2 in Talabrach, no, 1 in Talabrach, 1 in High Ridge, and 2 in Melilla.
Santa Maria State.
Yeah, so we start in Santa Maria, and we start in High Ridge. Back in these days, the house was like 240,000 Maltese. Anyway, I took him to this house, and and the lady was really sweet. You know, she's downsizing because her kids have left, and he's in this house, and this man guy goes, "But your furniture is rubbish." And I'm like, holy shit, did he just say that? I'm looking at the woman, she's about to cry. Yes, this place is a bullshit pigsty. And I'm like, the fuck is this guy? You know, it's crazy. Anyway, we go back in the car. I do my apologizing. And we get in the car. I say, screw it. Let me show him the next one. It's in Shell. He can't complain too much. So we go there, and it's in Shell. Well, it was so bad, I remember every second of it. And he's there. He says, "So how long would it take you to build this and finish it?" And I had asked the developer, when could it be ready? And he told me about 12 months. You know, it was just finished in Shell. Then, in America, we'll build a skyscraper in 12 months. The fuck's wrong with you Maltese? Anyway, it kept going on. We went to Melilla. I showed him another house. He didn't make much comments on this one. And then the last one, the owner literally just kicked him out of the... So I drove out of Santa Maria State, drove down to Shemshia. I got to, you know where you turn, you're going to Salina?
Yeah.
I planned it in my head perfectly. The furthest way where he can't get a bus and he can't get a taxi. And no agent should do this, by the way. So, I mean, but you know what? This definitely needed to be done. So I pulled over on the side of the road. I said, "Dude, can you get out? Because I think I got a flat tire. Can you check?" And he got out. The minute I put it in first gear, I told him, "In Malta, this is what we do to assholes like you." And I drove off.
Go fuck yourself.
I mean, what?
All right.
Well, that was an old one. Don't repeat it. It's not good.
Sometimes people deserve it, I think. Cheers, man.
Cheers.
Mela, I have some questions now from my Patreons. The Patreons are the people that support this podcast.
The backbone.
Yeah, exactly like that, man. Exactly like that. They're like the soul of this fucking operation, man. Cool. Wouldn't happen, shit would happen without them. Naddu issa għal-patruni jistasu u Kevin Buttigieg, il-patruni jistasu meġiba l-kom dan il-flixkun sexy, dan il-flixkun sexy ta' wek, tal-Loz Distillery li fih wieħed isib il-ġenna f'forma l-likwifikata ma f'ċeżis imma l-Jericho għal-grazzja talla jeżisti u jeżisti tassew għal-daqstan żuru il-website tal-vini e kapriċi biex takkwistaw il-flixkun ta'kom, però todhomx kollha xirt naqalija wkoll. Ħankomplu issa jien Kevin Buttigieg il-patruni jistaqsu. Mela, so the first question is actually from Kylie, who's sitting over there. There she is. So what do you recommend to middle-class young adults trying to buy their own home? What's your recommendation right now?
I would, middle class. So they're looking for something in the middle of the range.
Presumably,
but middle class, that's what it is. I would shop around. I would definitely speak to good qualified agents that would be able to show you everything that's on the market. A lot of people try to avoid agents. I can understand why. I mean, there's an amount of money involved. But I believe that they don't realize that, one, you will see a much larger portfolio with an agent. And number two is they get blinded by the developer who's selling to them. Because the developer simply gives them the agency fee as a discount.
Yeah.
Where me, in many cases, I don't just get you the agent 5% discount. I even get you 15% or even 20%. But some people are so blinded and so concentrated on skipping the agent that they end up getting a bad deal. So what I'm trying to say here for Kylie is she should look around with a few agents. Study the market and get to know that the area she's looking with. I mean, a good agent can give her a CRM, let her know exactly what the price is going per square meter. I mean, just do your homework.
Right.
Obviously, check with the bank of how much you can spend and make sure you can afford it. But
Is that where she should start?
That's where she should start, yeah.
Like check with the bank what she kind of what
Check with the bank what you can afford. Start doing your searches of what you're looking for, and if anything like that fits within your parameters, and hopefully you've chosen an agent that will be diligent with you and help you through the whole process.
If you're going through this process, you're a young person. The bank says you can get, I don't know, 300,000, but there's nothing you actually like at 300,000.
It happens all the time.
What do you do? Do you wait? Because if you wait, you run the risk if you know that the property becomes more expensive. It's taking you longer to get on the property ladder.
It's a catch-22. That,
yeah.
I mean,
what would you do though?
You'd bite the bullet, take something a bit less.
Okay.
So you're on the property ladder. Wait 1-2 years. Hopefully you'll be able to move your property. It's a bit of a risk, but you sell your property and then be able to afford a better property. But obviously, it depends on the financial situation of the person. I mean, that's the hook and crook. Then the agent and the ingredients of the product. And another thing, I'll always check and see with whoever you're buying for that things are being done, especially if it's being done up. If it's a finished product and you can see it with your eyes, you got no problem. But if you need to make sure that you're getting the right material, don't accept a spec list which says, tiles, this, that. I mean, you want to know what they're giving you and make sure you know what they're giving you. Even they should give you a sample.
So one, go to the bank, see what the bank is willing to give you, and obviously, try to save up as much money as you can.
That's the bottom line.
Two, either through an agent or if you manage, go around and see as many properties as you can.
See as many properties as you can, because you're making one of the biggest decisions of your life. You should try and see everything. Yeah.
And three, before you get into a contract, make sure that if it's an on-plan thing, make sure you see as many details as possible. That has to be a detailed list. It can't be just like a generic.
Yeah. No, and I would even take a step further. If you're buying something where the person is doing it up, I would tell him, look, okay, when is the completion date? And he tells you June 30th, 2024.
Yeah.
Tell him, okay, I'll accept September 30th, 2024. But from September 30th, 2024, on the money I give you as the deposit, I want 8% interest on it. So you protect yourself. Because there's nothing worse with having someone that doesn't deliver and you have no clause to collect any money.
Yeah.
And you know what he tells you? No problem, I'll give you your money back. But your property went up by 30,000 over the period while you've been waiting. So it's not worth it. That's why. But that's what's helped them, these cowboys, over the last 10 years, that they would tell you, no problem, I'll give you your deposit back. Yeah, the property is worth 50,000 more, so it's not worth it.
Isma, saqsik xaġa, l-ewwel semmejt il-Montenegro inti. Inti qed tinvesti fil-Montenegro, qed tixtri hemmhekk u qed tiżviluppa wkoll?
No. Just invested in a few apartments, that's all.
Why?
Because I had Remax there.
Why do you have Remax there, man?
I went there about 2016. I liked it a lot. It was available. I went on one of those government missions. Expeditions. Phoned up Remax Europe, told them, is Montenegro available? They said yes. They had a Russian there before who basically didn't do much. I went for it. I'll be honest, it's not easy running a business, a real estate operation when you're not there. And difficult to find someone you can trust in those kind of countries. So
The language barrier must be a big problem.
language barrier is a huge problem. Even today, it's not like Malta. You get either Maltese or English.
Yeah.
There, everything in Montenegrin. So everything you're signing, which really bothers me, is in Montenegrin, and they're obviously lawyers telling you it's okay,
Mushek.
but you really don't know what the hell's going on, you know. So
Yeah. Plus, I mean, your daily interactions.
no, it was. I don't think if we would have put more effort into it, it might have worked. But it's one of my failures. You know, but I make some money from the property I bought at least.
Okay. So you bought properties there to rent?
Yes.
I'm assuming units like that. Is it a good market?
Very good, very good. But it's a volatile market as well. So it's not as sturdy, obviously, as Malta is. You know, prices could be at 100,000 per unit today and down to 70, not the next day, but
Over a
it could
brief-
be a bit of a fluctuation. But it's a beautiful country, yeah? Beautiful country. It's probably one of the most beautiful countries in Europe.
Yeah. What's the rule of law like there? Next question. So next question comes from Chris Ellul, and he's asking, Mela, nifhem li inti taqla lajxin tiegħek minn dan is-settur u forsi għalhekk għandek perspettiva differenti. Però realistikament, meta tħares lejn ir-realtà fis-settur fejn qed joħroġ fis-suq bini iżgħar minn qabel u ta' inqas kumdità. Bini li estetikament ifakkarna fil-livelli komplikati ta' Tetris. Meta tibda titfa' kollox kif ġiġi biex forsi jissalva. U għar minnek, bini li iktar ma jgħaddi żmien dejjem qed isir iktar maqtuħ mill-mezzi finanzjari tal-Maltin. Inti qatti għafutajt li s-settur li tant ħobb qed isir wieħed mill-kontributi ewlenin li qed jaffettwa fil-ħażin il-kwalità tal-ħajja tal-Maltin tal-lum. Shall I paraphrase that? I'll give you a summary. So he's asking, look, over time we're seeing properties that are less affordable to many of the Maltese. We're seeing people essentially getting less for more money per square meter.
I understood that, yeah.
And also we're seeing that aesthetically, you know, some areas will just terribly put together, you know, like the developments. Is it a concern of yours that perhaps the industry that you are in has contributed in jaffetwa fil-ħażin il-kwalità tal-ħajja tal-Maltin tal-lum, has affected the quality of life of the Maltese poorly?
Definitely. I mean, you can't blame anybody else, right? I mean, it's the way it is. I mean, you could blame the planning authority. You can blame every government you want. I mean, this has been going on for years.
Yeah.
Was Malta built properly? Probably not.
Right.
Was it planned properly? Probably not. Can we fix it? Probably not.
In all areas, you think?
No, not in all areas. I think there are areas that can be fixed, but there are a lot of areas that there's no point of return. I mean, okay, I mean, I'm in the business. I mean, I can't be more honest. I'm going to sit here and say everything's beautiful because it's not. It's definitely not. You know, I mean, things should be synchronized. Things should be, you know, quality should be part of life.
And design and beauty.
The design, I mean, there are, so don't get me wrong, there are some beautiful projects, some beautiful apartment blocks. But, you know, and then you've got on Tower Road, seafront, the first thing the tourists see, and you've got 4 balconies, which are wood. You've got 2 balconies, which are with a glass balcony, and you've got 2. I mean, everything, if things are done, they should be all done together.
Yeah. But I have a feeling that something like that can be salvaged because you just go, okay, listen, il-faċċata, kulħadd jaqla kollox min. Ħanamlu kollox tal-injam, and maybe the government will daħħal subaj f'sormu, which is our money at the end of it, but we decide, listen, let's make an effort li għalaqas il-faċċata nagħmlu sura.
That would cost a fortune. I mean, you talk how many apartments, you know how many blocks have different.
You know how much money we gave to fucking Vitals, bro? 400 fucking million. We would do the facade, and it would look like Saint-Tropez up in this motherfucker.
Vitals, unfortunately, is a horrible story.
Yeah, man. That's our tax money.
I actually ran into them in Montenegro.
Why didn't you run over them?
Because they were going to do the same thing in Montenegro. They were going to take over their hospitals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Us, yeah. Did
But
they
I
succeed?
don't know. I was with another Maltese guy. They were in the same hotel as me.
Uh-huh.
And they told me, I said, I don't want to meet them. I'm not interested. But I didn't know anything was going on.
Yeah.
But he was actually the main guy. You know?
Yeah. I mean, that heist was...
It's
it's
a
a
shame.
lot of fucking money, man.
But
400 million.
someone should pay for it.
Yeah, question is like, who? Like, for sure, I hope the Maltese state at least is trying to figure out how we're suing these guys somewhere in the world. Are we? I mean, I heard nothing about it.
No, I don't. I have no idea.
Do these things piss you off?
They're not fair, you know. They're really not fair. I mean, one, if I read it properly, it's not the money that they stole. It's what could have happened to Malta after their contract is done. Because after a certain period of time, they're free to raise the price of the use of our hotel, our hospitals, to whatever they want. I mean,
we also gave them 400 million euros in order to fix up the hospitals, and they're basically shitholes. And it's...
Unfortunately, that's, you know, I mean...
had we not sued them, that figure would have gone up to the billions.
Yes. And I believe that at least they managed to cancel the contract now and everything's good. But I believe they're suing us as well.
Yeah, they're suing us for
not
wrongful...
Stewart's is suing us.
Correct.
Stewart's is suing us.
Correct. Yeah. But I hope we're suing them for the 400 million.
I was very involved in the hospital when it was being built, Skanska.
Okay.
Skanska, ABB, all the contractors, the foreign contractors.
The Mater Dei at Titan.
Mater Dei.
Kif kont involut?
I was doing all their rental properties.
Okay.
All of them. All 95% of them. And I did all their rental cars.
All the rental cars?
Yes. I did all their hotel bookings for them. I did a lot of business with them. 15, 16 years with them. And one of the guys who used to work there, he's coming next week to Malta.
Għandek dil-kapacità inti ssib fejn għandek titfaħħal attenzjoni.
Yeah, no, this is a good one. Skanska's another reason we grew so quickly. And we needed so many letting agents with us.
They were also somehow involved in some...
Like
I hear people complain about Skanska a lot. I don't know the story exactly.
But they complained that number one, there were lots of delays, but the delays were mainly from the Maltese government back in those days. And but the biggest complaint, which maybe Skanska should have seen, that they used cheap cement.
Yes. And we had given them an exemption, imma la darba l-estew il-kuntratt. Mela mbagħad eżentajnihom minn potenzjalment inħarkuhom ma'
dealing with Skanska is a total different story than dealing with Vitals or Stewart. You know, Skanska is the biggest construction company in the world. I don't know how it slipped through or whatever happened. It probably wasn't their fault, or the government would have sued them.
No, I think the government sued them.
Yeah.
But also the government had signed, Julian found something, but this agreement included a waiver that the parties will not be liable whatsoever for all and any further past, present, or future concerns, claims or disputes that the parties might have. This exonerated Skanska from any liability for the faulty concrete used at Mater Dei. So basically, they before they left, they're like, listen, just sign this waiver, please.
Sign this waiver and your commission check is in the bank.
Potentially, allegedly. So listen, we have another question from an anonymous guy. Il-podcast ta' John huwa proġett indipendenti u ħieles mill-influenzi tal-partit il-kbar u l-lobby groups li jorbitawhom. Bekk jista' jibqa' jiġi mtella biss jekk inti tgħin. Jiet nappellalek biex iżżur il-ħolqa ta' fuq jew jekk qed issegwi lil mill-YouTube billi tidħol ġewwa patreon.com/John Mallija u tina daqqatit. Tinsiex, il-podcast ta' John huwa l-podcast tagħna bidik ħadwa. Qafa sabru. Jas, madwar nofs ix-xejja Maltin jippreferu ma jeżawx aġent biex jixtru. tkellimna naqra dwar di. L-aktar jaraw il-commissions għoljin wisq. Taħseb li aġent jitħallas wisq ta' xogħlu. And I have another kind of point to ask about. We were looking at a video by these guys called Spunt. They have a really, really, really interesting YouTube channel. They pick like Maltese topics of interest. And they just do like 8 to 10 minute explainers in depth. They really do a lot of research. So if anyone's listening to this, I really recommend you go check out their channel because it's really very good. And in one of their videos, they say that I think up until 2008, the commission for agents was 3%, and then it went up to 5%.
No, it's bullshit.
Okay, so
It's always been 5%.
it's always been 5%.
Well, look, it's not actually 5%. It's what the agent charged. So
Right.
you got agents that charge 2%, you got agents that charge 3%, you got agents that charge 4%, you got the censar that charge 1%.
Wieħed minn fuq il-naħawm.
It depends on the company. I mean, and we don't always charge the same price because we negotiate as well. So, if
That's the thing I think that people don't know.
no, and
That,
they think, unfortunately, the people out there think, if I sell a flat for 100,000 euros and I've got 5% commission, I put 5,000 euros in my pocket.
Right.
I don't put 5,000 euros in my pocket. It doesn't even come close to 5,000 euros in my pocket. One, I have to pay the agent. There's always a listing agent, the person who got it into the system. There's the manager of the office.
Yeah.
There's the rent of the office. And in our case, the rents of our offices are very expensive because they're in prime locations. There's today, we're forgetting, we are subject people now. So I have a full team of MRLO. I spend 150,000 euros a year in wages for people to check every deal that I do to make sure that it's not money laundering. That has been put, I am the only company in Malta that's doing it. The others are still operating even though they're supposed to be doing it. So
Do they farm it out? Do they outsource it?
They're farming it out, but farming it out, we figured out doesn't work
Right.
because they don't take full responsibility. And you know what the fines are? Crazy. So we decided to go and get it ourselves. Plus, I give my managers more peace of mind, and they can concentrate on work and spending 3 days doing 3 hours a day
KYC
doing KYC and paperwork and bullshit like that. I'd rather have them out there selling. At the end of the day, a guy who owns an office is left with a maximum of 27.5% of the 5% commission. Has to minus the rent then, minus the expenses in the office, minus the depreciation of you end up with like any other business, 10 to 15% profit if you run it well. There are many agencies, I can tell you right now, that are losing money every day.
Like big franchises?
The big franchises, they're losing money every day. If you earn 60,000 and you spend 100,000 on advertising, that's a 40,000 loss. If you do that for a whole year, that's a lot of money, right?
But could it be like part of the strategy that
Could be part of their strategy, and then they'll slow it down. Everybody has their own strategies, and I'm sure they're not stupid. But every company, and believe me, the companies out there today. I mean, look, when we broke into the market. As Remax.
Yeah.
There was Dahlia, there was Cirkewwa, there was Frank Salt, there was Bel Air, Perry,
Right.
and a few others. We never dreamt that it would be so easy for us to become number one in the market within 3-4 years. We thought we'd get there in 6-7 years. But it went like storm, and it went very quickly. Today, we're still number one in sales. We've lost a bit of market share in rentals. I admit that, and I plan on gaining it back because that's my little baby. It hurts me more
Than the sales.
than the sales. But, and today I know for a fact, if you don't change your strategy, because it's changing, it's number one going to become a buyer's market. It's been a seller's market for too long now. It's the longest stint in I think real estate history for Malta that it stayed. So now we need to change. And I don't see anybody changing. We're changing, though. We're changing our concept. We're moving in different directions. And I think it's important. So, I mean, you want to brief me on the question about the commission, or?
Yes. So do you think that, look, you've clearly said that you don't think 5% is a lot because there's all of these overheads.
There are so many expenses. Believe me, there's a lot of expenses.
Mm-mm. There's also a risk factor, you know, like when you're an agent, like sometimes you go a month or 2 months.
Oh, the agents? Because the agents, look, today, that's part of the strategy change. Today, there are some agents that pick up a wage in Malta. But most of them, no, they're still without a wage. But it's a commission-based job, yeah. And they go dry for 2-3 months, but then sometimes, you know, they hit it big. Look, I can tell you, this is a statistic. I looked it up purposely for you.
I appreciate that.
Our average agent in Remax sells 2.3 million euros a year. When I say average, I've taken all our agents, the ones that don't do so well and the ones that do really well, and all the pie in the middle, and just done an average across the board.
Right.
I can guarantee you that our next competitor, their agents don't do 50% of that.
On average.
On average.
Why? I'm sure I'm going to get a bunch of like mail going, bullshit, my agents make. This is going to be interesting. But
No, but if that case, I'm willing to put my accounts publicly. If they're willing to comment, they could put their accounts publicly, and then we'll talk.
All right. So it's the war of the agencies.
No, it's a fact too. Everybody's number one.
Is it very competitive?
It's a joke.
It's a joke, or it's very cutthroat?
It's cutthroat to the limit. I mean, we got guys giving away free franchises.
Okay.
We got guys giving away free franchise. How can you give away a free franchise? A franchise is a franchise. And why would you take a franchise that's a local franchise? What extra is he going to give you?
All right, this is territory that I'm entirely unfamiliar with. So you're saying that your agents essentially make. Why do you think that your agents make
the infrastructure,
more?
The training, the IT, the brand, the focus of the managers, and it's mainly the training. I mean, we were the first company in Malta to hire full-time trainers all the time, and we still have them to this day. Even the bigger companies that do compete with us, they do not have trainers. They get one once in a while, blast it all over Facebook, and that's it. We have full-time trainers with us all the time.
So that's all right. I'm sure we're gonna not hear the end of this for a while. That will be fun. Speaking to you as a citizen, would you consider Remax not engaging themselves in developments that you feel are either questionable or that are just making the country more ugly?
But which kind of developments are you talking about? Like building high-rise in an area?
Yeah.
We don't have the capacity to get there anyway. So me answering that question, I mean, but yeah, I am all for having a nice design, giving quality, and making sure things are finished properly. Am I in a position to stop people from building? I'm not. And no, even if I tried, I wouldn't succeed.
Sure.
So,
Are you in a position where you could say, all right, look, that development is a bit of a fuck up. It's fucking up a UCA. It's making this town center ugly. I'm not going to touch that.
Oh, yeah, I've boycotted projects before. I'm one of the only companies in Malta that's boycotted project.
On this basis?
On this basis, yes. And unfair basis, unfair competition basis.
Okay, so everyone in the audience is going, which ones? Which ones, Kevin Buttigieg?
I had boycotted Pender Gardens.
On what?
They were being very unfair. But that was at the beginning, and then we arranged. That was at the very beginning. I had boycotted completely.
What's the story?
They asked us for their advice. We gave them their advice, and all the shareholders of the company took the apartments that we told them that were the best, where we were selling them to our clients.
So this was more of like a commercial conflict that you had.
Commercial conflict. Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So next question comes from Kenneth Cremona. Kenneth asks, Kevin huwa wkoll rugby mitla sew fuq ir-rugby f'Malta. Tista' tieħu l-kummenti tiegħu fuq is-sitwazzjoni bħalissa? What do you think of the rugby situation right now? You are the president now of the rugby.
I was the president who signed the contract with the International Rugby Board back in 2000.
Okay.
And then I recently was president.
What's
again.
that? What is that?
The International Rugby is the governing body of rugby worldwide. So they would be running the World Cup that's going on now.
So you got Malta into the international network, let's say.
Yes. In 2000. And then
How much fucking time do you have on your hands?
I back in those days, I used to give 70% of my time to rugby and 30% to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was keen, very keen.
Why?
Just loved it. Just felt the passion, seeing us win all those international matches while no Maltese team ever was competing and beating countries of 20 million people. And
Yeah.
it was...
How did we do it?
We did it. We improved. I mean, I realized that we had to improve our game, and the only way to improve our game was to bring players from overseas that have Maltese blood, and it would spend lots of money on training camps, so the local players would get a lot of experience. We started doing a lot of traveling because obviously to get better in the sport, you need to play against better competition, and it pretty much went on like that. That was a beautiful stint.
How long do you do that for?
I did that for about 4.5, 5 years back in those days. But this stint that I just had was just total unhappiness, and it was just being run like I went in thinking that they had a good committee and I had good people behind me, and I had one woman. I can say her name, Rona Sherry, who's a star. She's still there.
Who's such a fucking pitbull.
She's a star.
Yeah.
She's a star.
I met her on air.
No, she's a star.
Yeah.
The rest, all monkeys. I'm sorry to say, but I mean, there was no, I would never consider going back again.
So you're saying the period in which you were the president was a positive period or...
Back in the beginning,
Yeah.
but the recent stint, no.
So you had two stints?
Yes, 2 stints.
Oh, okay. All right. Wasn't aware of
Two
that.
stints.
All right. So the first one, when you were winning
Yes,
18 matches in a row,
yes.
was obviously fantastic.
Going undefeated 18 match because we drew against Norway. So, but no. But I mean, the recent stint. Look, to be fair, back in the first stint, there was no bullshit. So I got sponsorship from you, sponsorship from him. I put the money in the bank. No one fucking bothered me. Everything was fine. I didn't have to do VAT returns. I didn't have to do. Today, every sport, they're an NGO. It's this, it's that, it's this, it's that. It's become a job. Before, for me, it wasn't a job before.
Yeah.
You know, and so.
What year was the first stint?
From 1999 till about 2004.
1999
Yeah.
to 2004. Okay.
Yeah.
And then what happened? Like, because I really remember a time where like
We're just killing it.
We're just killing it. I think was XFM
That was-
around at the time. It
that
was like always like we're always
That
talking
was
about.
that was the time. That was the time. They're still good.
They are.
They're still good.
But did we manage to take it to the next? Did we invest on something something that was doing so well?
We took it to the highest level that
it's ever been.
That it's ever been. It can definitely go to another level. But
What's it going to take?
A lot of investment. You know, the government. I was dealing with Clifton Grima, Educational Sports, in this last stint for facilities.
And
At the end, I just realized I was just wasting my time.
fuck.
Yeah. you know, a sport that brought all the victories, made Malta known all over Europe as, you know, BBC interviewed us, CNN interviewed us, everybody. I mean, and they don't want to give nothing. They promise a lot. We even agreed figures. We agreed everything, but doesn't answer his phone, doesn't answer his emails. I mean, for me, just a waste of space.
Yeah. So now, what happens?
Now I'm just Remax, my kids, and that's it.
And you're getting married?
And I'm getting married in a couple of weeks.
And you were dancing right before?
I can't dance to save my life, believe me. But I had to go for dance lessons today.
Dirty Dancing, go at least.
Yeah, Dirty Dancing.
Dirty Dancing, lim kienet is-song? Time of Your Life,
naħseb. Time of Your Life.
I had the time of my life. Yeah.
Yes.
All right, man. I think we can wrap this one up. I think it was extremely insightful. How was the experience for you?
Oh, it's good. Meet all these people, sit here and have a chat, few whiskeys. It's all good for me.
You used to have a podcast.
My brother.
But were you on it?
I was on it, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Am I a better interviewer than your brother? Okay, no family feuds, but yes.
No.
All right.
No.
All right, man. So, man, thank you for coming over.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
I hope you can like hang around now a bit because I'm sure these guys have all their own questions. You know, maybe we can have a bit of a chit chat.
Sure.
I'm sure there's more whiskey in there.
Sure.
And there and everywhere in the studio. Yeah. All right. So, Kevin, thanks a lot. Before we go, our sponsors, the people that support this podcast, thank you so much for helping out. These magnificent companies are Vacant Properties by Abram, it's Browns, it's Maple who provide us with the sourdough, Apex Media who support us with the SEO. I'd like to thank GSE Technologies, amazing summit coming up, ESS Electra, eCabs for picking me up, for picking Kevin up, for picking some of the team up. I'd like to thank Kutriko for keeping our audience nice and fresh back there. Garmin, which I fucking forgot at the gym. Fuck. Derek meets 99. Derek used to play for the Maltese national team. I don't know if it's around your time. Can you do a little butcher?
Of course, in Butcher. Yes.
Like a running Great Wall of China he is. So, and Derek meets 9986-6425s. 425s? No, it's just 15. 9986-6425. Patreon.com/John Mallia. Be part of the community. Be part of the Solars. Kevin called you guys the backbone. All right. Thank you. Good night. And once again, thank you, Kevin Buttigieg, for a lovely conversation.
Thank you very much.
Mela, tlaqna?